The afterglow of the setting sun shines through the virtual filter of the helmet onto the wilderness of era of fantasy, like a layer of gold powder, but it cannot hide the smell of blood in the air. Xintian breathed heavily, holding the old iron sword in his hand tightly, and staggered through the grass in the low-level area. After the game was updated, everything changed. Originally, the plain around the novice village was a paradise for rookie players, but now it has become a surer field where monsters riot. Those low-level goblins, which should have been trash fish that could be dealt with in a few or two, now pounced on them in groups, their eyes shining with strange red light, like those out-of-control wild dogs in the streets and alleys. Damn it, this update is too stupid. Xintian cursed in a low voice, sweat sliding down his forehead and soaking his collar in reality. She was an office worker, typing on the keyboard at the company during the day, and only came to this virtual world to relax at night. Unexpectedly, when she woke up, the server announcement exploded, the global crisis event was activated, the monsters were strengthened, and the difficulty of the dungeon doubled. Her level is only 15, her equipment is still the initial set, and she hasn't even unlocked any decent skills. During the wave of monsters just now, she finally managed to get 2 temporary teammates, but now... Ah! A scream came from not far away. An archer player was knocked down by 3 goblins, and his sharp claws tore his leather armor. Xintian's heart suddenly sank. She turned around and wanted to run, but she heard her mage teammates behind her yelling, "Xintian, move quickly. The boss is coming." Boss? Why is there a boss in the low-level area? She looked back, and saw a huge goblin king emerging from the grass. His green skin was covered with scars, and he was wielding a rusty giant axe in his hand. The axe blade shone coldly in the sunset. Its roar was like thunder, causing the ground to tremble slightly. The surrounding monsters seemed to have heard the order and all rushed forward. "Spread out. Don't fight hard." The mage teammate threw a fireball, blowing up the 2 mobs, but the Goblin King was incredibly fast. It rushed in front of the archer with a single stride, and swept the giant axe, bringing with it the roar of the wind. Before the archer could draw his bow, he was split in half by the axe blade, and blood spattered on the virtual grass, turning into white light and dissipating. God, what kind of monster is this? The mage backed away in horror, the fire on his wand trembling. Xintian's legs felt like lead. She wanted to help, but she only felt her head buzzing. Death in the game is just rebirth after dropping a level, but the pain is real, and the helmet simulation is so realistic. She remembered the last time she was bitten by a monster, and her legs still ached in reality. The Goblin King turned to the mage, the red light in his eyes even brighter. It suddenly jumped up, holding its giant axe high, and the air seemed to be filled with murderous intent. The mage chanted the defensive shield in panic, but it was half a beat too late. The axe blade fell, the shield shattered, and the mage's figure turned into fragments and exited the game. Now, she is the only one left. Xintian's throat was dry, and a powerless frustration surged in her heart. Why does this happen every time? In reality, she was always an inconspicuous passerby. In the game, she wanted to prove herself, but ended up being a rookie. The Goblin King turned around, his huge figure enveloped her, and he raised his giant axe again. This time, its body leaned forward slightly and its muscles bulged, as if it was about to launch some big move. It's over. Xintian closed her eyes, and countless images flashed through her mind, overtime work in the company, bragging posts in the circle of friends, she was always struggling on the edge. The countdown to death seems to have begun. Bite. A crisp system prompt sounded in my mind, like the sound of nature. System awakening, the prediction boss skill module is activated. Host Xintian, binding successful. What? Xintian opened her eyes, and a blue light trail suddenly appeared in her field of vision, extending from the Goblin King's axe blade and heading straight for her position. Is that an attack trajectory? The system voice continues, boss skill prediction, whirlwind. Trajectory, 45 degrees to the right, range 3 meters, duration 2 seconds. Recommended dodge direction, roll to the left. Is this a golden finger? She didn't have time to think about it and instinctively rolled to the left. The giant axe struck down, creating a deep pit in the ground. The soil flew up and hit the spot where she had just stood. The wind pressure blew across her cheek, stinging like a knife. Without this foreknowledge, she would have been white light by now. The Goblin King was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect the prey to avoid it. It roared and swung the axe again, but Xintian had already seen the next trajectory clearly: straight thrust, medium speed. She dodged sideways and stabbed its weak armpit with the iron sword. The system is still prompting: weakness exposed, attack bonus 150%. The sword blade penetrated the flesh, green blood spurted out, and the Goblin King roared in pain and retreated. Ha! Fall down! Xintian's panic instantly turned into excitement. She kept up the pace and stabbed 3 times in a row. The monster group was attracted by the boss's screams, but they did not dare to get close. With the final blow, she jumped up and slashed its neck. The system prompts sounded: kill the low-level boss, Goblin King. The body of the Goblin King turned into golden light and disappeared, and a shimmering fragment fell to the ground. Xintian picked it up, and when his fingers touched it, a warm current flowed into his body. Quest props: fragments of Tears of the Wilderness. Collect 5 pieces to exchange for rare copy tickets. She gasped and stood up straight, her chest heaving. The frustration just now seemed to be blown away by the wind, replaced by nascent self-confidence. It turns out that she is not a permanent loser. This system is too powerful. She held the pieces tightly and raised the corners of her mouth slightly. For the first time, the game world doesn't feel so cold. The surrounding monsters were still restless, their red eyes staring at her like a tidal wave. Xintian gritted his teeth and prepared to fight, but he heard the sound of metal collision in the distance. A figure rushed out from the edge of the forest. He was equipped with a tall warrior and held a heavy sword. The sword light swept across like a sword and killed 3 goblins. Hey, novice girl, don't be stunned. Escape with me. The soldier turned around and shouted, his voice rough but reliable. He looks to be in his 20s, his ID is Tianyu, and his level is level 20, which is much higher than her. Xintian was stunned for a moment, and the system suddenly prompted another prompt: upcoming boss skill, group charge. Trajectory, frontal fan shape, lasting 5 seconds. The leader of the monster group, the goblin, raised his weapon high, followed by others. Careful. They're going to attack in groups, she yelled, instinctively sharing the information. I was shocked. Why would I tell a stranger? Tianyu raised his brows, but did not hesitate. I believe you once. Outflank with the left wing, I will block the front. He rushed forward, sweeping his heavy sword across, blocking the first wave of charges. Xintian walked around to the side and stabbed the lone monster with his iron sword. Her movements are more flexible than before, and her prediction allows her to always dodge claw attacks 1 step ahead. Great job. How come your dodge is so accurate? Tianyu asked as he slashed, sweat sliding down his virtual face, and the blade of the sword was stained with green blood. Good luck. Xintian responded with a smile, but she was thinking in her heart, this feels good. Waves of monsters came one after another, and she foresaw 2 mini-boss raids, one a rain of poisonous arrows and the other a ground thorn trap, and she reminded Tianyu in time each time. They worked together like old partners. The big one on the left is going to jump and hit the ground. Back away. Xintian shouted. Tianyu obeyed and retreated. Holes were created in the ground and gravel was scattered everywhere. She took the opportunity to stab it from behind and finish off the monster. The battle lasted for more than 10 minutes. The surrounding grass was trampled to pieces, and the air was filled with the smell of scorched earth and blood. When the last goblin fell, Tianyu wiped his sword and turned to look at her. Sister, you are not simple. Those predictions just now are just like cheating. Do you want to form a team? In this crisis, it is too dangerous to work alone. Xintian hesitated for a moment, looked at his sincere eyes, and nodded. Okay, my name is Xintian. Who are you? God bless you, individual players. I heard that collecting mission props can lead to high-reward dungeons. Let's give it a try. He grinned, showing his white teeth. As they walked and chatted, Xintian shared the experience of fighting back just now, and Tianyu's eyes lit up when he heard it. Prop fragments? Show me. She handed it over, and after the system scanned it, Tianyu whistled. Tears of the wilderness? These things are scattered everywhere, and you have to collect 5 pieces to exchange for tickets. It is said that the competitive points in the dungeon are doubled, and the top 100 can get legendary equipment. Xintian's heartbeat quickened. Competitive points? She glanced at her personal panel and saw that her ranking was still outside the top 10,000. But now, with precognition and teammates, everything seems different. As the sun set, they walked towards the village. The roar of monsters in the distance was still there, but her steps became brisker. God bless, from now on, I will counterattack this game. Those who are good players, just wait and see. She whispered, determination shining in her eyes. The fragments warmed slightly in her hands, like an eternal flame, igniting her inner ambition. The lights of the village lit up in the dusk, like scattered stars, reflecting the hurried footsteps of the players. Xintian and Tianyu walked side by side into the entrance of Novice Village. The air was filled with the smell of barbecue and potion, and the rhythmic sound of hammering in the blacksmith shop in the distance was clear. The bulletin board at the entrance of the village was crowded with people. Some people cursed the update for being too perverted, while others discussed the rumors of prop collection in low voices. Xintian glanced at her own panel. The fragment of Tears of the Wilderness was lying in her backpack, glowing slightly, which made her feel warm in her heart. Go to the NPC to redeem some basic equipment first. Tianyu patted her on the shoulder, his voice as reliable as a big brother. Your iron sword is almost rusty. The Edge Forest is a hotspot for prop fragments, but after the monsters are strengthened, it is risky to farm alone. If we work together, we should be able to get the second piece. Xintian nodded and raised the corners of her mouth slightly. Well, I listened to you. I have to thank you for resisting the front attack just now. If it weren't for you, I would have been eaten by those little monsters. She thought to herself that this was the first time she took the initiative to form a team. In the past, she always worked alone, for fear of dragging others down. Now, with the precognitive system, she no longer felt like the rookie who was always struggling on the edge. They stopped at the supply station in the village. Tianyu spent a few copper coins to buy a low-level potion and handed her a bottle. Drink it and restore some strength. There is no time to breathe in the forest. She looked at Tianyu's shield. The iron-edged wooden shield was carved with old scars, as if it had witnessed countless battles. How long have you been playing? You look quite old. Tianyu laughed and picked up the heavy sword. 2 years, starting from the closed beta. When the crisis came, everyone panicked. I originally wanted to go it alone, but after seeing you dodge a few times, I thought you had potential. Let's talk while we walk. The entrance to the forest is not far away. As the night grew darker, they left the village and entered the quiet path of the Edge Forest. The shadows of the trees danced, and the branches and leaves rustled in the breeze, like whispering ghosts. The ground is covered with fallen leaves, which are soft when stepped on, and the occasional chirping of insects breaks the silence. The air was humid, mixed with the aroma of earth and wild flowers, but the further in, the faint smell of decay became stronger. After the monster riot, the bodies in the forest had not yet been cleaned up. Xintian grasped the hilt of the sword tightly, and the system panel floated at the edge of his field of vision, ready to predict at any time. Prop fragments are usually hidden in monster lairs or hidden spots, Tianyu said as he walked and explained in a low voice. I heard from the guild channel that Kuyu and his gang have collected 3 pieces and are grabbing resources. She is one of the top 10 mage in the server, and she is very ambitious. Don't run into her. Kuyu. Sounds like a boss. Xintian frowned and felt nervous. She brushed that name on the forum. Kuyu Guild swept the arena, and always shined in the standings. Tianyu nodded. Yes, her men spread rumors everywhere, saying that whoever grabs the fragments will have to hand it over. The weak will prey on the strong, this is the nature of the game. They walked for half an hour and came to a clearing covered with thorns. The moonlight shone down, illuminating a pile of fallen tree stumps, with goblin footprints scattered around. Xintian squatted down to check, and there was a trace of green blood on the rough soil. There is movement here, it may be a nest. Be careful. Tianyu raised his shield in front and explored the path with the tip of his sword. I'll open the way, you guard. When you see the fragments, shout. As soon as the thorns were pushed away, a nest of enhanced werewolves sprang out from the darkness, with hair like steel needles and eyes as red as burning coals. The leading wolf king growled, clawing at the ground, raising dust. Xintian's heartbeat accelerated, and the system dinged, little boss prediction, tearing claw strike. Trajectory, arc sweep, range 2 meters. Dodge, jump back. Jump back. It's going to sweep, she shouted, jumping back to avoid it. The wind from her claws brushed against the corner of her clothes and tore a bit of fabric. The wind howled like the breathing of a wild animal. Tianyu's shield blocked it, making a muffled sound of metal collision. Hold still. Cut the leg. They cooperated tacitly. Xintian assassinated him from the side, and Tianyu shouldered him from the front. The wolves pounced, their claws intertwined, and the air was filled with the smell of blood. Xintian predicted 2 group attacks, one was a jumping bite and the other was a soil thorn. She warned Tianyu in time to avoid serious injuries. With the last blow, she jumped up and slashed the wolf king's throat, and the fragments fell. Tear of the wild fragment X1. Collection progress, 2/5. It's done. The second piece. Xintian picked it up, and the pieces were warm in his hands, like a pulsating heart. She turned around with a smile, only to see Tianyu frowning. Wait, listen, there are footsteps. The shadows of trees swayed in the distance, and 3 players appeared, 2 warriors and a mage. The mage's ID is Xiaoke subordinate, level 18, holding a wand with a sarcastic smile on his lips. Hey, have you got the fragment? Sister Kuyu has an order, everything in this forest belongs to us. Hand it over obediently, and I will spare your life. Tianyu sneered and raised his shield. Kuyu's bitch? Want to steal it? Ask my sword master if he agrees. Xintian's heart sank. Is this indirect obstruction by Kuyu? She glanced at the panel. These men were far better equipped than they were. The mage chanted, and magic surged in the air, like the sultry heat before a storm. Stop talking nonsense, come on. Fire rain technique. The climax came suddenly. The tip of the mage's staff glowed red, and the system warning exploded in Xintian's mind. Group attack prediction, meteorite and fire rain. Trajectory, circular range 10 meters, lasting 3 seconds, falling at multiple points. Suggestion, roll toward the east side of the trees, avoiding the center. Fireballs rained down, craters exploded on the ground, and heat waves hit the face, scorching the nearby grass blades. Xintian shouted, Dongbian. Get out of here. She rolled over and rolled into the bushes, with mud and fallen leaves sticking to her body, and the scorching aftermath made her skin red. Tianyu obeyed and retreated, but a warrior pounced on him and struck his shield with an axe. The sound of the collision was deafening, and the shield cracked a crack. Damn, tough fight. Tianyu gritted his teeth and resisted, while another soldier came around to attack Xintian. She predicted the trajectory of the sneak attack and blocked it with her sword, but was knocked back 3 steps and her arms went numb. God bless, hold on. I'll contain the mage. Xintian shouted, a strange responsibility welling up in his heart. In the past, she only wanted to protect herself, but now she wants to protect her teammates. The mage chanted again, and the ice arrows were fired, and the coldness was overwhelming. Precognition, ice cone array. Trajectory, straight line piercing, range 5 meters. Dodge, dodge left and then stab. She dodged sideways, and the tip of her sword pierced the mage's shoulder. The mage screamed in pain and retreated. Little girl, you are seeking death. The battle became stalemate. Kuyu's younger brother cooperated skillfully, and the two warriors attacked Tianyu. His shield finally shattered, his shoulder was scratched by an axe, and half of his health bar was lost. Xintian, withdraw. This is not something we can fight head-on. Tianyu gasped, sweat mixed with blood sliding down his face, and the virtual pain made his face pale. No, Xintian gritted his teeth. She glanced around, and the prediction system suddenly flashed. Secret trap detection. The prop fragments are hidden in the underground mechanism, and the triggering condition is to destroy the remains of the Wolf King's body. The corpse of the Wolf King is still in the middle of the clearing, and no one is paying attention. She had a flash of inspiration. God bless, hold them back for 30 seconds. The fragments are under the wolf corpse, there is a trap. Tianyu was stunned for a moment, but immediately rushed forward. When his shield was broken, he blocked it with his sword. Come on, you bastards. I can withstand it. He roared, and his sword light was like a net, blocking the combined attack of the three of them. The axe blade collided with the sword, sparks flew everywhere, and the smell of metal was thick in the air. Xintian took advantage of the chaos and walked around to the wolf corpse, and stabbed the iron sword hard into the remains. The ground shook, the soil opened up, and a hidden stone box popped out. There was a third fragment lying inside? No, the system prompts, hidden item found, Tears of the Edge. Special fragments can speed up redemption. But the younger brothers noticed it. The mage turned around and said, she wants to run. Stop her. The ice arrow shot straight. Xintian predicted the trajectory, rolled to avoid it, and grabbed the stone box. At the turning moment, she shouted, God bless, retreat behind the tree. Their backup is coming. Tianyu forced the warrior back with a sword and staggered back. Seeing that the situation was not good, Kuyu's younger brother said harshly, Sister Kuyu will not let you go. The figure flashed into the forest and disappeared into the night. The clearing was a mess, with charred pits smoking and blood stains. Xintian supported Tianyu, the wound on his shoulder was still bleeding. She handed over the potion, drink it, just now, thank you for holding on. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to get this thing. An inner monologue came to her, it turns out that a team is not a burden, but a strength. In the past, she always protected herself for fear of being betrayed, but God's shield was like a wall, making her feel the warmth of trust for the first time. From now on, she will become sharper, not only to dodge, but also to plan. God bless. Gulu drank the potion, and the wound healed. He grinned, it's not a big deal. Your prediction is simply a magical skill. How did you find out about the hidden trap? Intuition, Xintian smiled, but didn't say the whole story. There are now 3 fragments in the backpack, the original hidden one can be replaced with one, and the progress will be greatly improved. Let's go back to the village to exchange for tickets. Let's test the waters for a low-level copy. There was a long queue in front of the redemption NPC in the village. They gathered 3 pieces and the system sounded, successful redemption, low-level crisis dungeon ticket X1. After entering, you can get competitive points. The ticket emerged like a solid object, feeling smooth and cold. Xintian took a deep breath, go in, points are the key. The entrance to the dungeon was a whirlpool door. When they stepped in, the world turned around and the surrounding area turned into an underground cave. The damp stone walls dripped with water and echoed endlessly. The monster is an enhanced spider, the silk web is sticky, and the smell of spider silk in the air is pungent. In the first wave of battle, Xintian foresaw the poisonous fog of the Spider King and dodged in time. God blessed the shield. No, he had no shield, and used his sword to block the side attack. They cooperated more tacitly. Xintian not only dodged, but also commanded, left side of the net, go around and chop the legs. Kill the Spider King, the system prompts, competition points plus 200. The personal ranking rose to 8,567th. Xintian looked at the panel and felt hot in his heart. A slight uptick, but that's the starting point. When the dungeon came out, Tianyu patted her on the back. Not bad, sister. Next time, gather 5 pieces together and hit the intermediate level. The guild channel suddenly refreshed, and Kuyu's ID flashed. Haha, newbies also want to play with points? Just your ranking is ridiculous. The fragments are ours, get away. The ridicule was like a knife, piercing Xintian's vision. The surrounding players snickered, and some echoed. Xintian clenched her fists, eyes blazing with fire. Kuyu, wait and see. I will prove that counterattack is not a dream. She turned to Tianyu, continue collecting. Where is the next fragment? Tianyu nodded, the night wind blew, and a faint roar came from the depths of the forest. Their footsteps step into a deeper unknown. The night wind blew through the branches and leaves of the edge forest, making a fine rustling sound, like countless elves whispering. Xintian and Tianyu's footsteps made soft sounds on the fallen leaves. They had just come out of the low-level dungeon. The competitive points in their backpacks had increased slightly, but they were far from enough for her to feel proud on the ranking list. Kuyu's sarcasm still echoed in the guild channel, piercing her heart like a thorn, but Xintian had no time to sulk. The harvest from the low-level dungeon was limited. 3 pieces of fragments only bought a few points. For the intermediate-level dungeon, they had to collect 5 pieces. I heard that the rewards there were doubled, the monsters were more ferocious, and the boss had a variety of skills, but the drop rate of prop fragments was also high. The next target is the ruins of the river valley. Who mentioned it? Tianyu said as he walked, carrying the heavy sword on his shoulder, and the moonlight reflected on his face, outlining his resolute outline. There is a medium-sized boss there, an enhanced gargoyle. I heard from players that there is a chance of dropping the 4th fragment when you kill it. Be careful, Kuyu's gang may be targeting that place. Xintian nodded and held the iron sword tightly. The leather on the hilt was sticky with sweat. Her heartbeat has not yet completely calmed down, and the sticky silky smell of Spider King in the low-level copy is still lingering on the tip of her nose. Okay, I know that the prediction system has been very accurate recently. If we cooperate, there should be no problem. She said and glanced at the panel, ranked 85-67, Kuyu ranked among the top 50. The gap was like a mountain, but she felt her steps were much lighter. In the past, she always hid behind the team, but now she took the initiative to give orders. The ruins of the river valley are deep in the forest. A winding path leads to the edge of the cliff. Below the cliff is the rapid river water, and the roar of the waves hitting the rocks is deafening. The air was damp and cold, tinged with the smell of moss and decaying stone. They climbed up to the ruins platform, where a half-collapsed ancient temple stood. The stone pillars were covered with vines, and the moonlight filtered in, casting long shadows. Traces of monster riots are everywhere, scratches are crisscrossed on broken walls, and fragments of equipment left by players are scattered on the ground. Before entering, form a team and confirm, Tianyu whispered. The shield, a new shield he had just repaired in the village, was raised, making a slight sound of metal friction. You guard, I will open the way. Call out when you see the boss. Xintian hummed and stepped into the temple. It was dark and damp inside, and footsteps echoed endlessly, like stepping on an empty tomb. Suddenly, there was a sound of falling stone chips, and 3 gargoyles swooped down from the vault, their wings spread out like stone wings, and their eyes flashed red. Their claws were as sharp as knives, and the pressure of the rushing wind made Xintian's hair fly wildly. Here we come. The one on the left just needs to dive. The system warning flashed in my mind, mini-boss combo prediction, claw tear plus tail sweep. Trajectory, sweep after dive, range 4 meters. Dodge, cartwheel on the right side. Xintian yelled and turned sideways to avoid it. The claw wind brushed his arms and tore his sleeves. The pain was like burning. She stabbed the gargoyle's wing with a backhand sword, causing stone fragments to fly. Tianyu's shield blocked the other's tail strike, and the sound was like thunder. Fuck, these guys are so hard. Cut off their wings and break them to fly. He swung his heavy sword, and the blade hit the stone wings, causing sparks to fly. A third gargoyle circled and screamed, the air thick with the smell of stone powder. They fought and retreated at the same time, and their cooperation gradually became better. Xintian predicted 2 group attacks. One was a rain of stones, and she pulled Tianyu out of the way in time. The other was a poisonous mist, and they went behind a pillar to avoid danger. Dust was flying in the temple, and stones rolled down, hitting the ground with a dull crashing sound. When the last mob fell, Tianyu gasped and wiped his sweat. Yes, your reminder saved me twice. The boss is coming out soon. As soon as he finished speaking, the altar in the center of the temple cracked, and a giant gargoyle boss emerged from the stone. It was as big as a hill, its wings spread out to cover the sky and the moon, and its claws were as thick as an adult's arm. Its roar was like the friction of rocks, shaking the ground. After hearing the news, the remaining monsters rushed in, and the riot intensified into a melee. Highly difficult boss, Stone Demon Guardian. Skills are varied, pay attention to combos. The system prompts sounded intensively, and the traces of light in Xintian's field of vision intertwined, covering the boss's body like a net. First wave, wing blades rotate. Trajectory, 360-degree rotating slash, range 8 meters. Lasts 4 seconds. Suggestion, retreat behind the column. Retreat. It's going to circle and chop. Xintian shouted, pulling Tianyu back behind the stone pillar. The boss flapped his wings, and the blade wind swept across like a sickle. Deep marks were cut into the pillars, and gravel rained down, making a ping-pong-pong sound when it hit their heads. The wind pressure made her cheeks hurt, and Xintian thought to herself, if this was a low-level dungeon, I would have died long ago. Tianyu probed, where's the weakness? There must be one. Xintian stared at the trajectory, and the system updated, combination prediction, the wing blade touches the ground and the cracking claw. Weakness exposed, the chest crystal will freeze for 3 seconds after being destroyed. Guided attack, I contain you while you smash the spar. That piece of blue crystal on my chest. It's going to hit the ground with its claws in the second strike. When I get out of the way, you rush in and hit me. The boss turns around and the second wave comes. With the ground cracking claw attack, the ground cracked like a spider web, and stone thorns sprang out. Xintian predicted the trajectory and rolled to dodge. The stone thorns scraped against the soles of her boots, making her teeth ache. Now! Smash it! She shouted, attracting the boss's attention from the side, and stabbed its leg with the iron sword. Although it only produced sparks, it successfully turned it around. Tianyu rushed out like an arrow, raised his heavy sword high, and took advantage of the momentum to jump up and hit the spar on his chest. With a click, the crystal shattered and blue light scattered. The boss stiffened and let out a low roar of pain. The surrounding monsters temporarily retreated, and the air was filled with the smell of stone powder and burning. Weakness destroyed successfully, obtain props, Tears of the Wild Fragment X1. Collection progress, 4/5. It's done. The 4th piece. Tianyu shouted excitedly, picking up the pieces, sweat mixed with dust on his face, but smiling brightly. But the joy was fleeting. Although the boss was frozen, he suddenly flapped his wings and struck the 3rd time with his tail sting whipping out like a whip. Xintian predicted it, tail stab counterattack, piercing in a straight line, extremely fast. She pushed Tianyu away and dodged sideways. The tail spines grazed her and cut her shoulder. Her health bar dropped by 10%. The pain felt like needle pricks, she gritted her teeth and stood firm. It's not over yet, it's going to summon the mobs. Sure enough, as soon as the boss roared, the stone statues on the walls of the temple came to life, and more than a dozen small gargoyles rushed towards them. The melee broke out again, God-blessing shield blocked a wave, and the sword light flashed. Suppress it, I will clear out the mobs. At this moment, the system alarm was sharp. Intruder detection, QUID confirmed. The stealth skill is activated, and the sneak attack trajectory, the fireball hits the defender directly. A ball of fire shot out of the shadows and headed straight for Tianyo's back. Kuyu. How did she get in? Isn't the copy a separate instance? God bless your back. Fireball. Xintian shouted, rushing towards him and pushing him. But half a beat later, the fireball exploded, and the heat wave engulfed Tianyu. He screamed, and his figure turned into white light and went offline. System prompt, teammate Tianyu has temporarily withdrawn. Reason, seriously injured and offline. The temple was instantly in chaos. The boss resumed his action and smashed down his stone claws. Mobs pounced. Kuyu emerged from invisibility, wearing a gorgeous robe, her wand flashing, and a sneer on her lips. Little girl, the fragments are mine. Dare you rob Sister Kuyu's resources? You are seeking death. How did she sneak in? Perhaps they used the guild's privileged props to block them. Xintian's heart felt like it was falling into an ice cave. Fear came over me like a tide, and my legs became weak. Alone? Tianyo's shield was gone, and she had only a broken sword to face all this. The boss's trajectory is densely lit, the monster's claws are close at hand, and Kuyu's fireball is singing again. An inner monologue flashed through. It's over, I'm back to being that helpless rookie again. Why do you have to rely on others at every critical moment? No, not this time. She took a deep breath and felt a surge of fear, the confidence that started from killing the Goblin King. Independence. She can do it. Want to grab it? Ask me if I agree. Xintian growled, and the system predicted the first wave, boss claw attack plus mob attack. Trajectory, heavy attack from the front, flanking with the heel. Dodge, roll forward and jump back. She rolled forward to avoid the claw attack, and a deep pit was created in the ground. The gravel rubbed her back, and the pain was like a whip. When she stood up, the monsters rushed towards her. She jumped up and swept down two of them with her sword. The stone fragments penetrated her flesh and made a crisp sound. Kuyu was stunned for a moment. I can dodge quite well. Binding with ice chains. Blue light chains shot out. Prediction, chains entangled, range 3 meters. Dodge left around the pillar. Xintian dodged to the left, and the chain was smashed into the air and wrapped around the pillar. She walked around to Kuyu's side and thrust out her iron sword, forcing him to retreat. Do you think I'm still a novice? I can see all your skills. The second wave is coming. The boss's wing blade rotated, and Kuyu took advantage of the fire rain to assist. There were waves of mobs, heat waves and stone powder mixed in the air, and the vision was blurred. Xintian's health bar is only 60%, and he is blinded by sweat, but his prediction is like a beacon, continuous flash combination, fire rain behind the wing blade, weak point, boss's back. She retreated to avoid the wing blade, jumped on the boss's back when the fire rain fell, and stabbed the rear wing joint with the tip of the sword. The boss roared in pain, his wings softened, and he smashed in Kuyu's direction. Kuyu dodges in panic, and the wand's chanting is interrupted. Damn it, how did you know? The third wave, the climax broke out. Boss Earth Splitter Claw plus Kuyu's Meteor Summon, all the mobs will attack. The ground cracked and flint fell, as if hell had descended. Xintian's heart beats like a drum, her fear is still there, but her courage has turned into fire. I am not a vase that depends on others, I am Xintian. Prediction, multiple trajectories, dodge path, right turn, forward dash, left jump. Counter killing point, Kuyu's wand. She turned right to avoid the crack in the ground, rushed forward through the gap of fire and rain, the heat wave burned her skin red, and when she jumped to the left, the sword flashed and hit the wand of Curry. The staff broke, and Kuyu screamed, my equipment. Her health bar dropped wildly, and she hurriedly stepped back. Wait for me. The figure disappeared into the portal and escaped. The remaining monsters are still there, and the boss roars and rushes towards them. But once Kuyu left, the pressure was reduced by half. Xintian gasped, anticipating the final blow. The boss is about to collide. Trajectory, straight, weak point, overhead. She dodged sideways, jumped up and stabbed the boss's eye socket with her sword. The stone body cracked and the fragments scattered. Kill successful. Competitive points plus 800. Props, Tears of the Wild Fragment X1, 5th piece. The 4th piece Tianyu dropped was still on the ground. She picked it up and breathed a sigh of relief. The temple fell into silence, with only the roar of the river echoing. Xintian slumped on the ground, the wound on his shoulder was burning, and his blood bars slowly returned to blood. The inner transformation was like a tide, the fear just now was like a shackle breaking. She is no longer the girl hiding behind, this time, she reverses the situation alone. The taste of growth is bitter but sweet. Half an hour later, Tianyu came online, rubbed his shoulders in real life, and appeared from the resurrection point of the dungeon. Oh, that fireball was so cruel. I went offline for a while to repair it. How are you? Where are the fragments? Xintian stood up and handed over 2 pieces. They are all there. Kuyu sneaked in to attack you, and I took it down alone. Her motive? She was obviously keeping an eye on our progress, and she was afraid that we would counterattack the rankings. The guild's privileges, being able to enter other people's dungeons, must be for the props. Tianyu's eyes widened. You're going to kill the boss alone? You're awesome. I used to think you were very good at dodging, but I didn't expect you to be able to command. Kuyu is a woman with great ambitions. She relies on newcomers to get to the top 10 in the standings. We have to be careful, she won't give up. Xintian nodded, with a new light shining in his eyes. From now on, I will lead the team. Her obstruction will only make me stronger. Let's go back to the village to exchange for intermediate tickets. This time, I will hit the top 100. Before redeeming the NPC in the village, they handed over 5 fragments, and the system sounded, exchange successful, intermediate crisis dungeon ticket X1. Entry reward, basic competitive points plus 500. Personal panel update, the total points are 1,500, and the ranking has soared to the top 100, 89th. The guild channel exploded, and Kuyu's ID flashed across the screen. How is that possible? Is the newbie going crazy? The ridicule was filled with surprise. Xintian turned off the channel and turned to Tianyu. In the intermediate copy, the monsters are even more perverted, but we are ready. Kuyu's conflict has just begun. They stepped into the whirlpool door, and the world turned and entered deeper darkness. A faint roar came from the distance, like the beating of a war drum. The distorted light of the whirlpool door still lingers in front of you. The exit of the intermediate crisis copy spits out Xintian and Tianyu back to the edge forest of the real world. The shadows of the surrounding trees lengthen in the morning light. The air is filled with the fresh smell of dew and earth, mixed with the smell of scorched earth remaining in the copy. Their health bars were full, but their backpacks were bulging. The monsters in the intermediate dungeon dropped several pieces of blue equipment, their competitive points increased by another 300, and their ranking was firmly outside the 80th place. But Kuyu's sarcasm still echoed in the guild channel, like a fishbone stuck in her throat, which dampened Xintian's excitement. I finally came out. The poisonous mist from the spider boss almost knocked me out. Tianyu swung the heavy sword, and the spider silk residue on the sword shone in the sun. He wiped the sweat and turned to look at her. What about you? The prediction system came to the rescue again, right? You have moved up the rankings, and Kuyu's face must have turned green. Xintian smiled. The 89-digit number on the panel was like a medal, making her chest feel warm. Well, I've seen the trajectory of the poisonous fog clearly. Her posts flooded the screen, saying that I was lucky. It was just sour grapes. She turned off the channel and thought to herself, luck? This is strength. But just relying on the two of us, we still have to work harder to reach the top 50. The rewards for the intermediate dungeon are good, but I heard that only the advanced dungeon has legendary props. You have to collect the next round of mission items, Desert Tiers series. 5 pieces can be exchanged for advanced tickets. The first piece is in the Edge Forest. We already have 2 pieces and we have to keep fishing. By the way, the team needs to be expanded, Tian Yu said suddenly, shouldering his sword and walking towards the village, his footsteps making a crisp sound on the fallen leaves. Just the 2 of us, we always suffer when we encounter Kuyu's team. There is an auxiliary player in the village named Xiaowei, who specializes in healing and buffing. I have seen her posts on the forum. She is a nice person, level 16, and is looking for a reliable team. Add her. Xintian was stunned for a moment, and the image of killing the gargoyle alone flashed in his mind. The isolation and helplessness she felt at that time made her understand the limits of fighting alone. A good idea. The team is not just making up the numbers, but complementing each other. I will contact you. She opened her friend list and sent a private message. Hey, Xiaowei. I'm Xintian, I just came out of the intermediate copy. I heard Tian Yu said that you are looking for a team. Let's give it a try. There are many crisis incidents and there is a shortage of treatment positions. The reply came quickly. Wow, Xintian. That counterattack newbie on the guild channel? Okay. I'll wait for you at the village square. The square at the entrance of the village was bustling with activity. Players were discussing around the bulletin board. Some shouted to form a team, while others traded props in low voices. The aroma of the barbecue stall filled the air, mixed with the smell of fireworks from the blacksmith shop. Xiaowei was dressed in a green robe, with a healing halo floating on her head, and her long hair tied into a ponytail. She looked about 18 or 19 years old, with the ID wire assistant and a shy smile on her face. Hello. I'm Xiaowei. I'm a college student in real life. I play games to relieve stress. I heard that you guys are very accurate in dodging. I'm a nanny, so I guarantee you won't miss a beat. Tian Yu laughed and patted her shoulder. Welcome. Try a small task first to get familiar with the tacit understanding. The next target is the desert ruins, that is the #1 hotspot of Tears of the Desert. I heard that there are reinforced scorpion groups inside, and the chance of dropping the 4th fragment is high. He turned to Xintian. Captain, what do you think? Xintian nodded, feeling warm in his heart. Captain. This title transformed her from a mere survivor into a leader. Okay, the desert ruins are in the southeast of the server. There are many sandstorms. Prepare water and sandproof props. Let's go and gather at the teleport point. The blue light of the teleportation array flashed, and the 3 of them appeared on the edge of the scorching desert. The sun was burning like fire, the sand grains were twisting in the heat wave, and the air was so dry that it felt like it was drying out your throat. In the distance, the sky is filled with yellow sand, and the outline of the ruins is vaguely visible, like a sleeping giant. Xiaowei fanned her robe sleeves. Wow, this heat, the virtual senses have been turned up, it feels like I'm going to have a heat stroke in reality. Follow closely, there are traps in the sand. Xintian took the lead. The iron sword was replaced by the steel blade dropped from the intermediate copy, which was heavy in his hand. They crossed the dunes, their footsteps sinking into the soft sand, making a muffled sound with each step. Suddenly, the guild channel exploded. Kuyu's ID was highlighted. Open challenge, Xintian's novice team, do you dare to compete in the desert ruins? I heard that you collected 2 pieces of desert tears, and my team already has 4 pieces. If you lose, all the pieces will be handed over, followed by a bunch of expressions, full of mockery. She is openly provoking. She is trying to block us. Xiaowei's eyes widened and she clenched her healing staff tightly. Tian Yu snorted coldly. Kuyu's trick is to create pressure. The ruins are a public area, and her team must have ambushed her. Xintian, what should I do? Xintian bit her lip, and Kuyu's ranking appeared on the system panel, top 50. Their obstruction has turned from covert sneak attacks to open conflicts, and their ambitions are clear. Take it. But don't fight hard. Let's go around and collect the debris. Her crisis incident may be a sandstorm prop. Deep into the ruins, an ancient sandstone temple stands, the walls are covered with wind-eroded runes, and the wind and sand roar like ghosts crying. There are maze-like passages inside, and sand particles are flying in the air, scraping against the face like needle pricks. A swarm of scorpions sprang out of the sand, their tail hooks flashing poisonous light as they attacked from a flank. Xiao Wei's halo flashed, and the treatment affected the three of them, on the breasts. God bless, please push forward. The god's blessing shield blocked a wave of hook attacks, and the sound of metal collision echoed. Xintian, the boss is at the central altar. They fought in, and the prediction system rang. Little boss, Sand Scorpion King. Skills, poison hook stabs. Trajectory, arc, multiple targets. Dodge, jump back and spread out. Xintian shouted, scatter. It stabs continuously. The three of them jumped back, hitting the sand with their hooks and raising yellow mist. She stabbed the scorpion in the abdomen, green blood spurted out, sticky and hot. With Xiao Wei's buff blessing and Tianyou's épée sweeping away, the Scorpion King shattered and dropped fragments. Desert Tears Fragment X1, progress 3/5. The third piece. Xintian picked it up, and the pieces were as warm as sand crystals. But the joy did not dissipate, and a sandstorm suddenly broke out outside the ruins. The yellow sand came in like a wall, blurring the vision, and the wind roared like an animal. Kuyu on the guild channel refreshed the screen. Ha, the sandstorm is coming. The storm scroll my mage team released. Xintian, you guys, get out and die. A crisis breaks out. A sandstorm swallowed the entrance, the monsters were stimulated to riot, and scorpions came in like a tide. The three members of Kuyu's team were singing outside, the fireball was mixed with sand and wind, and the heat wave was rolling. Xiao Wei screamed, zero vision. The treatment can't keep up. Tianyu protected her, and the shield was ground to sparks. Damn it, this is a range attack. Xintian, think of something. Xintian's heart beat like a drum, and grains of sand filled his mouth and nose, making him choke and cough. Fear surged in, but a turning point flashed in anticipation. Boss ultimate move, Sandstorm. Trajectory, vortex spreads, range 20 meters, lasts 10 seconds. Transformable, use Desert Tears fragments to absorb and transform into a shield. Innovation tip, inject magic to bounce back the sand flow. Boss Scorpion King is resurrected. No, it's the sand spirit boss awakened by a sandstorm. It's shaped like a sand dune and has red eyes. Everyone, gather together. Give me the fragments. Xintian shouted, taking out 3 pieces of Desert Tears from his backpack, and injecting magic power into his body under the guidance of the system. The fragments glowed, and the yellow sand of the sandstorm gathered like a magnet. She felt a surge of power, crisis transformation. Sandstorms not only destroy, they also protect. The shield is formed. God bless, point your sword at the outside and counterattack Kuyu. The blue sand shield rose up and enveloped the 3 of them. The sandstorm melted like cotton and bounced out. The yellow sand flows against the current and hits Kuyu's team. Kuyu screamed, what the hell? What happened to the shield? Her fireball was swallowed up by the sand flow, the team members were swept away, and their health bars dropped wildly. An inner monologue flashed through Xintian's mind, I used to just dodge, but now, I can transform the crisis. This is growth, not luck. Tianyou's close combat coordination followed him like a shadow. His shield blocked the scorpions that slipped through the net, and his heavy sword cut through the sand flow, and went straight to the boss's weak point, Xintian, left wing. Your shield holds up, and I hit the core. His figure stood firm in the sand shield, which warmed her heart. They are not competitive teammates, but bonds, like real friends, protecting each other. Inner turning point, counterattack alone is not enough, I want to build a guild to help more people rise from the bottom. Kuyu's obstruction will only make us more united. The climax is coming. The sand spirit boss roared, and its sand core was exposed. Xintian predicted the final trajectory, nuclear explosion impact. Dodge, shield bounces. She shouted, everyone retreat, rebound it. The sand shield shook, and the nuclear explosion was sucked in, backfired on the boss. The sand core shattered and the fragments scattered, kill successful. Desert Tears Fragments x2, progress 5/5. Competitive points plus 1,200. Kuyu's team was defeated, and she herself was half buried by the sand flow, and she teleported away in embarrassment. You are cheating. The sandstorm dissipated and the ruins returned to silence, leaving only grains of sand falling slowly like golden rain. Xintian gasped, the shield dissipated, and the fragments became hot to the touch. Xiao Wei hugged her excitedly, Captain, it's amazing. That shield saves lives. Tian Yu wiped his sweat with complicated eyes, you have changed, Xintian. Not only do you dodge, but you also innovate. The cooperation just now, I feel, we are like a family. Return to the village to exchange, and the high-level dungeon ticket appears, shining with golden light. The system sounded, redeem successful. Advanced Crisis Dungeon Ticket X1. The total points are 2,700, and the ranking rises to the top 50, 47th. The guild channel was buzzing with excitement, and players exclaimed, Newbie Xintian's top 50? Unbelievable. But Kuyu's post spread like a virus, don't believe it, she must have a golden finger. Precognitive skills. Game bug, report it to the official to check it out. Rumors are spreading everywhere, some people question it, some people agree with it, and the competitive tension is like a bow being fully drawn. Xintian turned off the panel, held the ticket tightly, eyes burning, rumor. Prove it with your strength. Let's rush to the advanced copy. Kuyu, I accept your challenge. Tian Yu and Xiao Wei nodded, and the three of them walked towards the teleportation array side by side, with the hot wind of the desert still chasing behind them, like the beginning of a war. The blue light of the teleportation array engulfed the three of them like a whirlpool. The world turned, and the entrance to the high-level crisis copy suddenly opened up. Xintian blinked, and the surroundings had turned into a dark underground palace. The stone walls were covered with glowing moss. The air was humid and stuffy, like being stuffed in a steamer, mixed with a faint smell of mold and rot. The sound of water drops echoed in the distance, and the stone bricks underfoot were slippery, making a slight creaking sound with every step. The panel prompt appeared, Advanced Crisis Copy, Shadow Demon Palace. Monster Enhancement Level, 35+. The linked boss battle is about to be triggered. Reward, competitive points plus 1,000, rare item, Shadow Tears Fragment, 5th piece. Wow, this place is eerie, like a scene from a horror movie. Xiao Wei held the healing staff tightly, and her green robe shone slightly in the dim light. She leaned closer to Xintian and whispered, Captain, what do you think? What are the warnings from the prediction system? Tian Yu raised his shield in front and tapped the heavy sword against the stone wall, making a crisp metal echo, don't panic, explore the path first. I heard that the multi-boss linkage in this dungeon is a new mechanism after the server update. Killing the main boss will drop the 5th Shadow Tears fragment. If you collect them together, you can redeem the ultimate ticket for legendary equipment. He turned to look at Xintian with a firm look in his eyes, you lead the team, we will listen to you. Xintian's heart felt warm, Tianyou's words were like a stream of heat, diluting the shadow of Kuyu's rumors. From the solo counterattack in the novice village to the current team command, she feels like she is transforming, no longer the rookie who can only dodge, but a leader who can set up situations. Okay, spread out, but keep your field of vision. System prompts, there are 3 small bosses in front of you. The skill chains are complicated. Clear the surrounding mobs first to warm up. They advanced 100 meters, and the palace hall suddenly opened up. The towering vaults were like the mouth of a giant beast, and broken stone statues were scattered on the ground. Suddenly, the wall cracked, and 3 shadow monsters sprang out. One was a flying shadow crow, with wings like black mist, one was a ground-walking shadow wolf, with its claws gliding silently, and one was a floating shadow spirit, emitting a low hum. Their eyes all turned red, as if they had received an invisible order and started a coordinated attack. Coming. The crow dives first, the wolf flanks, and the poisonous mist behind the spirit. Xintian's prediction system came like a tide, and the traces of light in the field of vision intertwined into a network, linked skill chain, crow wing/wolf bite spiritual mist explosion. Lasts 8 seconds, range 15 meters. Suggestion: spread out in the middle and apply the healing buff first. She shouted, Xiaowei, all buffs. God bless, block the crow, she and I will clear out the wolf. The tip of Xiaowei's staff flashed, golden light enveloped the 3 of them, and their physical strength surged like a fountain. The buff is in place. The milk level is full, charge. Tian Yu moved his shield horizontally to meet the crow's wing slash. The wind pressure hit like thunder, and the shield surface trembled. He gritted his teeth, hold on. Xintian, where is the wolf's trajectory? Xintian turned sideways and dodged the wolf's claws, and the steel blade pierced the hair like shadow mist, and green blood spattered, sticky like oil, bite in an arc, from the left. Jump back to avoid it. She rolled to dodge, and the wind from her claws brushed the corner of her robe, tearing the fabric, and the pain was like fire. The shadow spirit's mist filled the air, making the air thicker and blurring the vision into gray. Predictive update: the fog explosion is about to spread. Weakness: crow wing root, destroys linkage. God bless, chop the crow's wings with your sword. Break their chains. Tianyu's heavy sword jumped up, and the sword light struck the crow's wing like a sword. There was a click, the black mist dispersed, and the crow screamed and fell to the ground. The linkage was interrupted, and the wolf and spirit attacks were out of rhythm. Xiaowei's treatment was affected, and the green light dissolved the mist poison. Good job. The health bar is stable. Xintian took advantage of the chaos and pierced the wolf's throat with a sword, and the shadow body disintegrated. Tian Yu touched up the spiritual core, and the buzzing stopped. The hall fell into silence, leaving only the flickering light of moss and shadow crystals scattered on the ground. The first wave passed. Points plus 200. Xintian gasped and picked up the small drop. The fragments flickered, and she was secretly happy. Although this linkage was dangerous, the team worked together tacitly. In the past, she always protected herself, but now she is as commanding as her fingers. Going deep into the core of the palace, the reliefs on the wall are distorted as if alive, and the main boss, the Shadow King, appears, a tall black-robed figure, holding a fog chain, surrounded by the afterimages of 3 minor bosses. It whispered like the wind, intruder, offer your soul. The linkage war broke out in full force, the chain was whipped out like a whip, and the fog in the air was as thick as ink, choking the nose and dazzling the eyes. The complex chain is coming. The first link, chain sweep, everyone retreats behind the pillars. The predicted trajectory is like lightning, chain plus crow dive plus wolf thorn plus spirit mist. The chain cycles every 5 seconds. Weakness, the heart core under the Shadow King's robe. Xintian shouted, he pulled Xiaowei back behind the stone pillar, and smashed the pillar with the chain whip, and the stone fragments rained down, hitting the shield with ping-ping-pong-pong. Tian Yu resisted Yichong. Xintian, where is the second ring? There was trust in his voice, and sweat mixed with mist slid down his face. After the wolf lands stabs, the fog explodes. Xiaowei, prepare to detoxify. I'll contain the Shadow King, and you guys defeat the little boss. Xintian rushed out, blocking the chain with his steel blade, which made the tiger's mouth numb. Precognition guided her to dodge the ground thorns, the ground cracked with black seams, and the cold air rushed out like a knife. She jumped on the wolf's back, beheaded it with a sword, and the shadow fog dissipated, the wolf falls. God bless, the crow's weakness is exposed, wing membrane. God blessed like a tiger and pounced on the food, the heavy sword swept away the crow's wings, and the blood bar dropped wildly. Well done. Xiaowei, milk me. Xiaowei's aura flashed, and the treatment was like rain. Here it comes. Hold on. The spiritual mist exploded, and the poisonous gas eroded the sleeves of the robe. Xintian felt itchy on his skin, but he predicted the next chain. Shadow King's heart explodes, range 10 meters. Dodge, roll forward and stab backward. Hardcore. Everyone roll forward, I will stab. The three people rolled to the ground to avoid the explosion. The aftermath of the explosion was deafening, and stone bricks shattered and flew. Xintian stood up and jumped up, the tip of the sword went straight into the Shadow King's robe, the blue core shattered, and the black mist dispersed like fireworks. The boss is stiff and all the mini-bosses are destroyed. Kill the main boss, Shadow King. Competitive points plus 1000. Props, Shadow Tears Fragment X1, 5th piece. The fragments are cold in your hands, like holding a piece of eternally frozen heart. I got the 5th piece. The ultimate ticket is guaranteed. Xiaowei jumped up excitedly and hugged Xintian's arm. Captain, your prediction is so ridiculous. That chain just now made my eyes dazzle. Tianyu wiped his sword and grinned. Yes, Xintian, you not only dodge, but also break the chain. This growth scares me. His eyes were full of admiration, which made Xintian feel confident. Tianyu's loyalty is like a strong brother in reality, always supporting him at critical moments. But the joy came to an abrupt end. The archway at the dungeon's exit lit up with a red light, and the system alerted, exit containment, player alliance invasion. Kuyu's ID is confirmed, and the guild's privileged props can be used. Outside the arch, Kuyu led a team of 5 people to block, 2 tanks, 3 mages, her hunting robe, the red light of her wand flashing, and her mouth taunting. Hey, Xintian, the 5th piece of Shadow Tears. Hand it over. I have sent the server announcement, and the evidence of your cheating is flying all over the sky. Want a copy? Step on our corpses. The guild channel has exploded, Kuyu's allies are flooding the screen with questions, and ranking pressure is mounting. Xintian's heart sank, the fragments felt hot in her hands, the exit was sealed by a wall of fire, the heat wave hit her face, and the smell of burning permeated the air. Xiaowei panicked. Captain, what should I do? Tianyu's shield moved horizontally and stood in front of Xintian. Fight it. Kuyu, you are an alliance dog, how can you bully newcomers? His back was broad, which eased Xintian's fear. But I was struggling internally. Come again? From sneak attacks in the forest to sandstorms in the desert, Kuyu's obstructions have increased step by step. This time, she also attracted allies, and her ambition is to dominate the rankings. Throw away pieces. Rankings regressed and the team collapsed. No, I can no longer passively dodge, I have to set up a counterattack. The prediction system suddenly flashed. Not only the boss, but also the player's skills also predicted. Kuyu's spell chain, fire wall blockade ice arrow volley meteorite bombing. Trajectory, fan-shaped spread, weakness, the magic power of her wand is overloaded, and she will freeze for 2 seconds after casting 3 skills in a row. An idea struck, and Xintian's eyes lit up. It's not about fighting head-on, it's about luring the enemy. God bless, Xiaowei, follow my command. Pretend to break out, and I will set a trap. Kuyu loves to pursue, so let her chase in. Tianyu was stunned for a moment, but immediately nodded. I believe you. What to do? His support was like an anchor, making Xintian's leadership burst with confidence. From relying on his teammates to now relying on her brain, this change is as sweet as honey. Pretend to be weak. Xiaowei, throw out a fake healing wave to attract attention. I'll go around from the side door, predict her ice arrows, and cause her to overload. Xintian arranged in a low voice, her heart beating faster. This is an active setup, and the risk is high, but a reversal is in sight. Xiaowei took a deep breath and faked the tip of her staff, healing wave. Green light flashed out, but it was a low-level bait. Kuyu sneered, little trick. Ice arrows, up. Blue arrows came like rain, predicted trajectory, straight line, multiple points. Dodge, flip left behind the pillar. The three of them turned left, arrows hit the pillars, and the broken ice flew like a rain of needles. Xintian took advantage of the chaos and slipped through the side door, hiding behind the screen wall. The prediction was updated. Kuyu pursues, the meteorite is singing. Magic peak, overload is imminent. Chase. Don't let her run away. Kuyu led the team and rushed in. The mages moved back the wall of fire, and the heat wave was overwhelming. Tianyu deliberately retreated, blocking an arrow with his shield. Damn it, I can't stand it. Xiaowei pretended to be weak and retreated into the arch. Kuyu stepped in, raising her wand high. Meteor, smash you. The red light shined, overload prediction, stiff for 2 seconds, weakness exposed. The meteorite fell, craters exploded on the ground, and the stone fragments were as hot as charcoal. Kuyu froze and turned pale. The magic power is empty. Now. Xintian jumped out from the side, slashing the wand directly with the steel blade, counterattack trajectory, side stab, breaking the wand. The staff broke, Kuyu screamed, and her health bar dropped by half. How did you predict it? Tianyou's heavy sword followed up and swept away the two mages. Captain, a stroke of genius. Xiaowei's treatment was locked, and the green light resolved the remaining injuries. A melee broke out, and Kuyu's allies were in disarray. Xintian predicts the chain, tank collision, dodge to the right, mage fireball, jump back. She commanded like a general, God bless, block the left tank. Xiaowei, milk him, I will clear the mage. The sword light flashed, the fireball passed by, and the heat wave burned the arms, but the team was like one. Kuyu sent in a panic, retreat. There is something wrong with this woman. Her team collapsed, leaving behind 2 corpses. They died in the game and were reborn after being dropped. The exit is cleared and the debris is safe. Xintian picked up the dropped ally props, and felt a twist in his heart. After struggling, the situation was set up. This is not luck, it is strategic growth. Kuyu's siege turned me from passive to active. Next time she comes again, I will set up a dragnet. When the dungeon was released, the system resounded, advanced dungeon cleared. Competitive points plus 1,200, total 3,900. The ranking rose to the top 20, number 18. The collection of the 5th film of Shadow Tears is completed, and the qualification to redeem the ultimate ticket is open. The guild channel was buzzing with excitement, and players exclaimed, Xintian's top 20. What about Kuyu's rumors? Kuyu's ID was silenced, and her ally posts were deleted. In the village square, 3 people celebrated around a bonfire. Xiaowei grilled the game meat skewers, the aroma was fragrant. Captain, cheers. This round of reversal is so cool. Tianyu handed over the wine bottle and patted her shoulder. You have become stronger, Xintian. From a novice to a leader, I will follow you. As a team, we will strive for first place. Xintian smiled and took the wine. The wine was spicy and warmed up his throat. Reflecting on the road to rise, from the precognitive awakening of the Goblin King to the innovation of Sand Shield in the desert, every crisis forged her. Kuyu's obstruction is like a whetstone, making the edge sharper. But the server announcement suddenly flashed, Global Crisis Event Upgrade, Large-Scale Boss Riot, All-Server Battle is about to begin. Collect the ultimate props and dominate the competition. Red clouds rolled in the sky in the distance, and a roar came faintly, like the sound of a doomsday bell. She held the fragments tightly, with determination in her eyes. Global war? Come on. We are ready. The 3 of them stood up, walking firmly towards the next teleportation array. Everything under the red clouds was ready to go. Red clouds lowered the night sky of the main city like a curtain of blood, and the lingering sound of the server announcement was still echoing in the ears. Xintian and the others had just staggered to the ground from the teleportation array, and the surrounding streets were already in chaos. In the main city square, players screamed and ran away, and the air was filled with the smell of scorched earth and blood, like a wilderness engulfed by wildfire. There was a loud noise from the city wall in the distance, and the roar of cracking stones shook the ground. Monsters poured in like a tide, strengthened trolls, shadow beasts and flying dragons, with red eyes flashing and minions drawing long shadows under the torchlight. Damn, the global crisis is escalating so fast. Tian Yu raised his shield and rushed forward, his voice rising above the noise. The announcement said that a large-scale boss riot occurred, and the main city is the first battlefield. We have to guard the East Gate, where there is a clue to the sixth item, the legendary Heart of Blood and Tears, dropped from the invading boss. The top 10 rewards will depend on this wave. Xiao Wei's healing staff lit up green, and she ran and shouted, "Captain, the players are panicking. The guild channel is asking for help," and I joined a temporary team. Her ponytail swayed in the wind, and her face was pale but she did not flinch. Xintian's heartbeat was like a war drum, and the prediction system was buzzing in his mind. Monster wave warning, the troll takes the lead and attacks the East Gate for 5 minutes. She took a deep breath and clenched the steel blade. Come on. But don't mess up the group, stabilize the 3 of us first. The East Gate is a hotspot for props, and Kuyu must be eyeing it. Let's go, guard and fish at the same time. They rushed towards the East Gate. There were only a few players guarding the city wall. Arrows shot down several shadow beasts, but they could not stop the waves behind them. Trolls swarmed towards them, their green skins as rough as tree bark, their giant axes roaring in the wind, smashing street lamps and causing sparks to fly. The air was billowing with heat, mixed with the putrid smell of the monster's bad breath, making people's stomachs churn. A temporary teammate, the archer player, Jianfeng, shouted, "Newcomer? Get out of here, this is not for you. The boss is coming, and the East Gate cannot be defended. You can hold it." Xintian roared back, and the predicted trajectory emerged, troll axe sweep, arc, range 3 meters. Dodge, jump back. She jumped up to avoid it, and the steel blade pierced a troll's knee, and green blood spurted out like hot oil scalding her hands. Jianfeng, listen to me. Bows and arrows suppress the left wing, Tianyu blocks the middle, and Xiao Wei milks the whole audience. Let's form a formation, don't fight hard. The heavenly blessing shield collided with the troll, making a thunderous sound. Xintian is right. Arrow wind, shoot in the eyes. His heavy sword followed up and cut off the tail of a shadow beast. The shadow mist filled the air like smoke, choking and stinging his eyes. Xiao Wei's green light swept across, follow the treatment. Keep the health bar steady. Jianfeng was stunned, but he pulled out his bow and shot 3 arrows, hitting the troll's eye socket. Okay, you command. This newbie is not easy. The battle was in full swing, the East Gate was in flames, and the players were screaming. The guild channel flooded the screen, Kuyu's ID was highlighted, the East Gate props belong to me. Anyone who blocks the way will be killed without mercy. Her team has sneaked in, taking advantage of the chaos to kill the lone monster, and her points have soared. Xintian caught a glimpse of Kuyu's figure, and she flashed past. The red light of the staff exploded into fireballs, swallowing several players, and the fragments went straight to her backpack. Kuyu is grabbing fragments on the right wing. God bless, suppress her. Xintian shouted, predicting her next move, fire rain assist, range attack. She brought the arrow to the side, and blocked a flying dragon's claw attack with the steel blade. The wind pressure shaved her face like a knife. Xiao Wei, buff my speed. Let's cut off her escape. The tip of Xiao Wei's staff flashed, and Fengxing's blessing made Xintian's footsteps light. Go, Captain. Tian Yu roared and rushed towards Kuyu's team, sweeping away a tank with his heavy sword. Want to grab it? Ask me about the shield. The sound of collision made metal clang, the cracks in the shield expanded, and his health bar dropped by 20%. Kuyu turned around with a sneer and chanted with her wand, little girl, it's you again? The meteorite will smash you. Red stones fell like rain, holes exploded on the ground, and heat waves hit her face, scorching the nearby stone bricks. Xintian predicted the trajectory, multiple meteorites, lasting 3 seconds. Dodge, left around the pillar. She drew the arrow to get out of the way, and the stone rain hit Kuyu's own rear guard. A mage screamed offline, Sister Kuyu, accidentally injured. Damn it. Kuyu's face turned livid, and she turned to focus on Tianyu. Tank, knock him away. Her tank rushed like a bull, and hit Tianyu's shield with a heavy hammer. The prediction alarm went off, large-scale boss riot, the arrival of the devil outside the city, AoE prediction, blood shadow wave. The range is the entire east gate, lasts for 10 seconds, and has a mortality rate of 80%. The red clouds in the sky split, and a huge demon king came through the sky. It was as big as a hill, its black wings spread out to cover the sky, and its roar was like thunder, shattering the bricks of the city. The blood shadow wave surged like a tidal wave, the red mist swallowed everything, players screamed, and the health bar dropped wildly. Attention everyone! The blood shadow wave is coming, a large-scale AoE. Xintian's heart sank, and the trajectory in his field of vision was like a blood net covering the east gate. She is not just dodging alone, this is an entire crisis. Panic is like ice water, if the organization is not good, the team will be wiped out and the ranking will return to 0. A flash in my mind, no, starting from the desert sand shield, I learned to transform the crisis. It's not about hiding, it's about leading. Listen to my command. Form an evasion formation, the tank blocks the wave in the middle, and God bless you as the leader. The archers in the back row suppress the mobs, and the healers spread out the breasts. The left wing dodges in a circle, and the right wing hides behind the column. 3, 2, 1, move. Her voice cut through the din, ringing like a command. The players were in confusion. After hearing this clear instruction, some hesitated while others followed. Jianfeng was the first to respond, listen to her. Archers retreat. Tianyu gritted his teeth and held his shield, Xintian, I believe you. Everyone follow. Xiaowei's green light spread out like a net, the breast position is in place. The formation was formed, and the blood shadow wave hit the god's blessing shield. The red mist whipped like a whip, and the shield shattered. His shoulders were bloody, and he knelt down with a roar of pain. Ah, I can't stand it. The health bar was only 10%. The formation of surrounding players shook, some people were swallowed by the wave, and white light flashed offline. Xintian's panic surged, God bless. He has always been that wall, and now it has fallen down, what should I do? My heart is pounding and my vision is blurry. But in an instant, determination ignited like fire. Don't panic, he believes in me, I have to save him. In the past, I only protected myself. Now, I am the leader. She rushed forward and predicted the trajectory of the residual wave, sweeping wave tail, range 5 meters. Xiaowei, Tianyu. Arrow wind, shoot the demon king's wing root and cut off the source of its wave. She picked up the potion bottle Tianyu dropped. The bottle was cold and stinging her hands. She poured it into his mouth herself, hold on. Your shield saved everyone, I'll fight back. Tianyu coughed and stood up, with complicated eyes, Xintian, thank you. Xiaowei's treatment poured in, and his health bar rebounded. The formation was stabilized, most of the blood shadow wave was blocked, and the red mist subsided like smoke. The players exclaimed, it's done. This formation is amazing. More people came forward, and the temporary guild channel flooded the screen, Xintian leads the team. Followed. The devil roared, the riots intensified, and mobs rained down. However, the formation dodge reduced the casualties by half, and Xintian commanded like an arm, archers volleyed on the wings. Tanks took turns. The arrows rained like locusts, and the demon king's wing was hit by an arrow. Black blood sprayed like rain, and the air was fishy and pungent. Predictive weakness exposed, hardcore red light, piercing can kill. God bless, come up when you recover. The core is in the chest, I'll cover you. She jumped up, the steel blade blocked the claw attack, the claw wind grazed her arm, tearing the skin and flesh, the pain was like fire. Tianyo's heavy sword jumped up and hit the center core, break it to me. There was a loud click, the Demon King's body broke apart, the red cloud dispersed, and the fragments fell. Kill the invasion boss, Heart of Blood and Tears X1. The sixth item is obtained. Competitive points plus 2000. The players from the East Gate cheered and formed a crowd around her. Xintian, awesome. We'll mess with you. Her panel was updated, the total points were 5,900, ranking firmly in the top 10, 8th. Kuyu's snatch failed, and her figure flashed into the shadows and fled in embarrassment. In the aftermath of the battle, Xintian helped Tianyu sit down, with blood still oozing from the wound on his shoulder. Xiaowei bandaged, Captain, you just went to the battle in person for treatment, you used to just dodge, but now you are like a big sister. Tianyu grinned, yes, you have grown up. On the guild channel, everyone calls you the leader prototype. Shall we build a team guild? Xintian nodded, blood boiling in his chest. From a rookie to this stage, every crisis has transformed me. Organizing a formation is not luck, it is responsibility. Okay, build. But first redeem the rare dungeon ticket. This Heart of Blood and Tears can be exchanged for the Ultimate Crisis dungeon, which contains legendary equipment. In front of the village to redeem the NPC, there was a long queue. They handed over 6 props, and the system resounded, redeem successful, Ultimate Crisis Dungeon Ticket X1. Entry reward, basic competitive points plus 3,000, your ranking will be announced across the server. The panel shines, the 8th one shines brightly, the guild channel is buzzing, Xintian's top 10. Counterattack Queen. Players came and the temporary guild, Tianying Alliance, was instantly formed, with more than 50 people joining. But amid the joy, hidden dangers emerge. Xiaowei suddenly posted a screenshot of the private message, Kuyu's internal channel leaked, she plans to put virus props in the final boss battle to disrupt the server-wide joint battle and allow herself to monopolize the legendary equipment. The ally has bought the target, Xintian's dungeon ticket. Kuyu's conspiracy was exposed, like a poisonous snake spitting out a letter, and her ambition was naked. Xintian clenched his fists, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. She doesn't want to give up. The virus destroyed the boss battle and the whole server crashed. This woman is crazy. Tianyu sneered, good exposure, fight back. Everyone in the guild, keep an eye on her. Xiaowei nodded, Captain, we will fight with you. The fire at the east gate gradually extinguished, the monster corpses were scattered, and the smell of blood was still carried by the night wind. Xintian stood up, the ticket in his hand as hot as fire. On the eve of the final battle, she wants to destroy everything? Come on, I will make her pay the price. The Alliance sets out to protect the server. The players responded and rushed towards the center of the city. Under the red clouds, the war was gaining momentum, and the reversal was imminent. The square in the center of the city was like a boiling furnace. The orange light from the torches reflected the livid faces of the players. The air was filled with the salty smell of scorched earth and sweat. Red clouds pressed overhead, and a faint roar came from the ground, like the earth groaning with dissatisfaction. Xintian stood at the front of the temporary guild, Tianying Alliance. More than 50 players gathered behind her. Someone shouted, "Fuck Xintian." The sound was like a wave, which made her heart tremble slightly. From being isolated and helpless in Novice Village to now being regarded as the leader by this group of people, the transformation was as fast as a dream. But Kuyu's private message of conspiracy is still echoing in her mind, virus props, destroying the whole server joint battle. She clenched the steel blade and turned to Tianyu and Xiaowei. The alliance is divided into 3 teams, with the main force guarding the city gate. I will lead the core team into the underground labyrinth. The 7th item, the core of Tears of the Abyss, is said to be hidden there. We will join together after collecting it. Kuyu wants to release the virus, so let her spend it outside. Tianyu nodded and put the heavy sword on his shoulder. The cracks on the shield had not been repaired yet, but he blocked a reliable shadow. Okay, Xiao Wei and I will follow you. Jianfeng will lead the second team and keep an eye on Kuyu's little moves. Don't let her get close. Xiao Wei's healing staff already lit up green, and she bit her lip. Captain, the monsters in the maze are rioting seriously. Is the prediction system useful? The guild channel said that Kuyu's allies bribed the NPC guards. Thank you. Xintian took a deep breath and led the charge towards the crack in the center of the square. It was a newly opened underground entrance after the crisis escalated. The stone steps extended downward, and it was as dark as the throat of a giant beast. The wind blew out from inside, mixed with damp mildew and a faint smell of sulfur. The players followed, their footsteps hitting the ground like raindrops. They entered the maze, the light and shadow of the torch flickering, and the walls were covered with pulsating red vines, twitching like living blood vessels. The air was hot and stuffy, making my chest feel tight, and every step made a slippery sound. Be careful, this place seems alive. Tianyu whispered, holding his shield in front and exploring the way with the tip of his sword. Suddenly, the passage ahead trembled, the ground cracked, poison ivy whipped out like a whip, green juice splashed, and the corroded stone bricks made a sizzling sound. Xintian's precognitive flash, trap chain, poison ivy plus ground thorn. Trajectory, fan-shaped, lasting 4 seconds. Spread out. The vines are coming from the left, thorns in the heels. She shouted, jumping back to avoid it. The vine whip grazed her arms, leaving red marks. Green juice spilled on the ground and smoke rose, making Xiao Wei cough. Is this the work of Kuyu? How did she know we came in? Tianyu's heavy sword cut off a vine, and green juice splashed on the shield, bubbling and corroding, definitely. Her virus tool has not been activated yet, and she will use traps to kill us first. Look, there is her mark at the end of the passage. Sure enough, the symbol of the Kuyu Guild was engraved on the wall, flashing mockingly. The deeper the maze is, the denser the traps are. Arrows shoot out from hidden grids, and iron arrows whistle like swarms of bees. The floor collapses, revealing a pool of acid, and the bubbles roll and emit a sour and pungent smell. There are even phantom clones, fake monsters pounce on, and when the claws are empty, they cause an explosion, and the heat wave explodes and rubble explodes like shrapnel. Damn, this chain is too sinister. Xiao Wei's treatment affected 3 people. The green light resolved the acid burn, but the blood bar was still slowly dropping. Captain, we are trapped. There is movement before and after. Xintian gasped and leaned against the wall, sweat dripping down his forehead, sticky with dust. The prediction system beeped, but the trajectory was chaotic, and Kuyu's player skills interfered with the boss prediction. Hold on. The core of Tears of the Deep is at the central altar. Break this trap first. She directed Tianyu to smash open a stone door. Inside was a medium-sized hall, with red vines wrapped around the stone pillars, pulsing like blood. Suddenly, the system voice was clear and crisp. Prediction module upgrade. Player interference is detected, unlocking the hostile anticipation feature. The host can predict the movement trajectory of the designated opponent, which lasts for 30 minutes and cools down for 1 hour. Binding target, Kuyu. In the field of vision, a red line appeared, extending from the end of the passage, pointing directly at Kuyu's hiding place. Her figure flashed like a ghost, her staff was raised, chanting a wall of fire to block the way back. Prediction of Operation Kuyu. Wall of fire plus meteorite assist, intended to block the retreat and grab altar props. Weaknesses, high consumption of magic power, retreat to resupply after firing continuously. Xintian's eyes lit up. This upgrade was like a timely rain, allowing her to change from passive dodge to being able to actively set up traps. Upgraded. Kuyu is ambushing us in the right passage. She wants to block our escape route. God willing, we ambush you instead. Xiao Wei, pretend to be in a trap and lure her in. Tianyu raised his brows, but immediately understood, clever. Her fighting style is chasing. I used the shield to pretend to be weak, and exposed her weaknesses. You predict her trajectory, and I cut off her supply line with my last strike. His combat wisdom is like a puzzle piece, perfectly integrated with Xintian's prediction, making the team a tacit understanding. In the past, Tian Yu was always just trying to hurt her, but now he began to predict her intentions, as if he had read her brain circuits. Xiao Wei nodded, pretending to trip, and dropped the healing staff. Oops, the poison ivy is entangled. The green robe was pulled by the vines, making a tearing sound. Her real health bar dropped by 5%, but the bait worked. Kuyu's red line trajectory accelerated, pursuit action, lead 2 tanks to rush in, and the fireball opens the way. Fire flashed at the end of the passage, and Kuyu's figure sprang out, hunting in robes. I'm hooked. Tanks, knock them away, the fragments are mine. The 2 tanks rushed at them like cattle, hitting the ground with heavy hammers, causing shock waves like waves. Now! Xintian shouted, predicting and guiding, fireball trajectory, straight line, 3 shots. Dodge, right around the pillar. She pulled Xiao Wei to dodge to the right, and the fireball exploded into pillars. The heat wave hit her face like an oven, and the stone chips burned her skin red. God blessed, instead of retreating, he advanced, and the gap in his shield was deliberately exposed. Come on, stupid cow. The tank collided with it, but the shield cracked and slid sideways. The Ape swiped the tank's leg in reverse, and the health bar dropped wildly. The tank roared in pain and retreated. Sister Kuyu, there is something wrong with this shield. Kuyu's face changed slightly, and she waved the meteorite with her wand. Little trick. Smash you. The red stone fell, and the trajectory of the red line was clear. 3 in a row, the magic power is about to be overloaded. Xintian roared, Tian Yu, break her staff. She is overloaded. Tianyu's wisdom flashed. He did not charge straight, but went around to cut supplies. Kuyu's potion bag was exposed at the corner of his robe. He raised his heavy sword and the package shattered, the blue bottle rolled to the ground, and the magic potion spilled out like blue mist. The supplies are gone. Xintian, get in. Xiao Wei's green light locked on Tian Yu. Tits. Captain, it's safe. Xintian jumped up and stabbed the tip of Kuyu's staff along the red line with the steel blade. Precise trajectory, side stab, break the demon. The staff cracked, Kuyu screamed, and her health bar dropped by 30%. How do you know my location? Evidence of cheating, I want to report it to the official. She retreated in panic, escorted by 2 tanks, but Tian Yu had already killed the red eye, and swept one away with the Ape. Want to run? Keep the points. The system prompt sounded, kill Kuyu's allies and get 500 competitive points. Kuyu's figure flashed into the portal and said harsh words, Xintian, I will remember this grudge. The virus props will destroy you all. The ambush and counterattack were successful, and the hall fell into silence, leaving only the sound of twitching vines and the faint fragrance of the potion's blue mist. Xintian picked up the dropped props and felt the peak of confidence in his heart. From defense to offense, this is my leadership. Internal monologue, thinking back to the Goblin King in Novice Village, I could only dodge, and fear was always with me. During the desert sandstorm, learn to transform the crisis. In the Shadow Demon Palace, break the link and set up a trap. Now, foresee hostility and bury the opponent. My transformation from a rookie to a top player is not due to luck, but to the tempering of each battle. Kuyu's obstruction only made me stronger. The team is my backing and I am their sword. Well done. Tian Yu patted her on the shoulder, with new cracks on the shield like medals. Your foresight and my queen breaking make you invincible. The points have increased, and it's time to rank in the top 5, right? Xiao Wei checked the panel excitedly. Yes. The total number has changed from 5,900 to 6,400, and she is in the top 6. But the threat of Kuyu, can virus props really destroy the joint war? Yes, but let's get the props first. Xintian wiped his sweat and took the lead in pushing open the altar door. Inside is the intermediate boss hall, the Abyssal Tears Guardian Beast, a crystal giant lizard with scales flashing like teardrops and bright red eyes. It roared, the ground trembled, poisonous tears sprayed like acid rain, and the corrosive smell of the air was pungent. The climax broke out, the boss rioted, its tail swept like a whip, and the stone pillars shattered and splashed across the range. The chain is coming. Tears burst after the tail sweep. The prediction system is more sharp after the upgrade, boss skill chain, tail sweep tears burst crystal thorn rain. Weakness, under abdominal tear core, destroys catalepsy for 5 seconds. Xintian shouted, God bless, top tail. Xiao Wei and I are around the belly. Tian Yu blocked the shield, and the impact was like thunder. His knees weakened but he held firm, hold it. Your weak point is accurate. Xiao Wei's buff was popular, and the three of them walked like the wind. The tail sweep wind blew, and Xintian rolled to dodge, his tears splashing on the ground and corroding. She jumped onto the boss's back, the steel blade piercing her belly scales, and crystal shards flying like broken glass. Xiao Wei's treatment was like rain, the blood is stable. Stab again. Tears burst, green mist was like bubbles, and the predicted trajectory flashed, range 10 meters, outside the dodge circle. Run in the outer circle. God bless, the sword hits the core. God bless used the shield to bounce up, and the épée hit the tear core with a loud click. The boss stiffened and his red eyes dimmed. The rain of crystal thorns fell, like a dense rain of needles. Xintian predicted the gap, left. Xiao Wei, shield buff. The green shield rose, blocking most of the thorns, and the rest of the thorns grazed his shoulder, causing pain like a needle prick. But before the catalepsy ended, she made one last leap and drove the blade into her core. Kill the intermediate boss, Guardian Beast of Tears. Competitive points plus 1,500. Items, Core of Abyssal Tears X1, 7th piece. The boss disintegrated, tear crystals scattered, and the hall lit up with blue light. Panel update, total points are 7,900, ranking in the top 5, 4th. The guild channel blew up, Xintian's top 4. Counterattack myth. Tian Yu gasped and laughed, this is the peak, sister. Yu is probably vomiting blood. Xiao Wei picked up the core, and the crystal became cold and smooth. I got the 7th piece, and the final alliance is stable. But she threatened, where is the virus prop? Xintian clenched his core, and the red clouds came in through the cracks, and the roar came closer. She has retreated temporarily, but she will not give up. The alliance has joined together to prepare for the final boss battle. Let's break her conspiracy. The three of them exited the maze and returned to the city. The underground wind was still chasing behind them. They were as tense as a bowstring, and the war was about to break out. The square in the center of the city was brightly lit, and the footsteps of players gathered like a tide. The air was filled with the smoke of torches and excited whispers. Xintian and the others had just emerged from the underground maze. The core of tears was still slightly hot in the backpack. The underground wind was caressing the back of her neck like a ghost hand, making her shiver. The red clouds got lower, pressing down on the sky like a curtain of blood. The server announcement suddenly sounded, the crisis event has finally escalated. The countdown to the global large-scale boss battle is 24 hours. The 8th prop, Heart of Flame Tears, is scattered in the competitive arena. Collectors can exchange it for the ultimate ticket and dominate the server. The square boiled instantly, players were whispering, some shouted, where are the props, and some directly formed a team and rushed to the southeast competitive arena. The 8th piece. Heart of Tears, sounds like a pit of fire. Tian Yu gasped and wiped his sword. The cracks on the shield cast long shadows in the firelight. He turned to look at Xintian. The Tianying alliance now has more than 50 people, which is a large enough scale. You take the lead, and we go straight to the arena. That woman Yu will definitely not make it easy for us. Xiao Wei nodded, holding the healing staff tightly, and her green robe was covered with dust from the maze. Yes, she is swiping the screen on the guild channel, saying that she wants to grab props in the open competition. Her allies are still spreading rumors, saying that we are cheating. Captain, how can we break it? Xintian's heart sank slightly. The ranking of number 4 on the panel was as hot as a stick. She had gone from being ranked among the top 10,000 in Xintian village to this point. She thought she had proved herself enough, but Kuyu's shadow was always like a maggot on her tarsus. The feeling of loneliness came back, the team was bigger and the responsibilities were heavier, and she was afraid that one mistake would drag everyone down. But she took a deep breath, and the red line of the prediction system was still floating at the edge of her vision, giving her confidence. Destroy. Just use your strength to crush it. The alliance is divided into 2 groups. The main team will guard the perimeter of the arena to prevent Kuyu from sneak attacks. I will lead the core team into the arena to collect the Heart of Flame tears. Let's teleport. The blue light of the teleportation array flashed, and they appeared outside the competitive arena. The huge circular stone platform stood under the night sky, the brazier was blazing, and the air was filled with heat waves, mixed with the saltiness of rust and sweat. The field was in chaos, players were jostling for position, and the bulletin board was crowded with people. The open competition starts. Kill the competitive boss to get the Heart of Tears fragments. Kuyu Guild launches a challenge, the winner will get the props. Kuyu's ID highlighted the channel, and her sarcastic tone was like a knife. Xintian, do you dare to come? Your foreknowledge is just luck. In this game, I will let you show your true form. She wants to block us with the open game. Jian Feng arrived with the second team, bowstrings squeaking. Captain, the alliance listens to you. Enter. Xintian nodded, determination flashing in his eyes. She led Tianyu, Xiaowei, and a dozen core members into the arena. The stone door slammed shut, the venue was illuminated by fire, and the players in the audience shouted like waves. Kuyu's team is already in position on the opposite side. She hunts in robes and brings 5 elites, 2 tanks, 3 mages, and their equipment shines with blue light. Start. The boss is summoned. Kuyu shouted, and a red light exploded in the center of the altar, and a Balrog boss sprang out. It was like a giant lava beast, its skin cracked with fire, its roar was like thunder, and the heat wave hit its face and made its skin red. The rules of the competition are simple, kill the boss to get fragments, first come first served. But Kuyu's obstruction is obvious, her team is specifically targeting Xintian, with tanks blocking the road and mages bombing from a distance. The boss's first wave of skills is here, lava spits out, red juice falls like arrows, and the ground corrodes. Prediction system buzzes, boss combo prediction, breath earth fist ring of fire rotation. The trajectory is changeable and lasts for 10 seconds. Xintian shouted, spread out. Spray fan shape, jump back. God bless, the ground will crack, I will clear the flanking mobs. Tianyu's shield was horizontal, and he rushed forward to block the earth-shattering fist. The wind of the punch hit the shield like thunder. His knees softened but he kept steady. Xintian, where's the follow-up to the combo? Xiaowei's green light swept over, buff on. Speed boost. Her steel blade pierced a fire monster, and fire shards flew like sparks starting a prairie fire. The ring of fire is coming, 360 degrees. Flash around the pillar, Kuyu's mage will assist with the meteorite. Sure enough, Kuyu sneered and sang, meteorites mixed with rings of fire fell down, potholes exploded on the stone platform, and the gravel was as hot as charcoal. Her red line trajectory is clear, Operation Kuyu, the meteorite locks the rear guard with the intention of weaning. Xintian's heart tightened. This combo is so changeable, and the boss's skills are like a series of cannons. If you make a mistake, all of them will be destroyed. But she took a deep breath. From proving herself to now, she enjoyed the tension. Foreknowledge is not a burden, but a weapon. Xiaowei, move left. Her meteorite was deflected to the right, I predicted it. Xiaowei dodged and the meteorite hit the air, blowing away a mage in Kuyue. The screams echoed, Sister Kuyue, accidentally injured. Kuyu's face turned livid, go. Hit her with the tanks. The two tanks rushed at her like bulls and hit Xintian with heavy hammers. Flash of prediction, boss's second combo, fire claw continuous grab plus Kuyu ice chain assistance. Perfect dodge path, roll forward, dodge left, reverse jump to stab the weak point. In the heat wave, Xintian rolled forward to avoid his claws, and the claw wind scraped his face like a knife. He flashed to the left and broke the ice chain. The chain shattered like ice slag and flew everywhere. When he jumped back, the steel blade pierced the fire core under the boss's belly. Nuclear fissure, the boss freezes for 3 seconds, and the ring of fire is interrupted. Weakness broken. Tianyu, last hit. Tianyu's heavy sword smashed down, lava splashed everywhere, and he laughed, perfect combo flash. Xintian, you are the queen. Kuyu panicked, the red line showed that her magic power was overloaded, impossible. How do you dodge that changeable trajectory? Her tank was still charging, and Xintian counterattacked with anticipation. The tank collided, exposing the side ribs. She dodged sideways, and the steel blade pierced the side of one tank, and the health bar was cleared. The player's white light flashed and went offline, Sister Kuyu, save me. The second tank was stunned, and the god's blessing shield knocked him away. The heavy sword followed and ended, goodbye. The audience burst into cheers, Xintian fights back. The queen of competition. The boss struggled to death, and finally the combo broke out, a sea of fire AoE, and the whole place was filled with heat. The peak of Xintian's prediction, the ultimate whirlwind pillar of fire, covering the entire Taiwan. Transformation, rebound with guild buff. Alliance, all buffs are fire resistant. Xiao Wei, lead the singing. Green light and golden light intertwined, and the fire pillar hit the cotton and was resolved, backfired on the boss. The lava beast disintegrates and the fragments fall, kill the competitive boss. Heart of Flames and Tears X1, 8th piece. Competitive points plus 2,500. The arena fell silent, leaving only the crackling of the brazier and the players breathing. Xintian picked up the fragments, as if holding an eternal fire, and felt an unprecedented pleasure in her heart. In the past, she counterattacked just to prove, but now, she enjoys this victory and the trust of the team. Kuyu's teammates were all wiped out, and she only had 20% of her health bar left. She retreated to the edge in embarrassment. You cheated. This is not real strength. But Xintian didn't pursue her, she just smiled. Strength? Your obstruction made me stronger. Rules of the game, if you lose, you accept it. Tianyu walked up to her, patted her shoulder, and said in a low and reliable voice, Xintian, that dodge just now was so cool. From novice village to this, you have changed, you are no longer alone, we are all here. His words were like a warm current, diluting the remaining loneliness in her heart. At that time, she was always afraid of dragging down her teammates and struggling alone. Now, Tianyu's encouragement makes her feel that the team is her family, not a burden. She nodded, with tears in her eyes, thank you, God bless. Without you, I would still be on the edge. The guild channel was boiling, and alliance members rushed in, Queen, cow. I got the props. They went back to the village to redeem them, and the long queue in front of the NPC dispersed. 8 pieces of props gathered together, and the system resounded throughout the server. The ultimate crisis dungeon ticket was redeemed successfully. Xintian's points totaled 10,400, ranking first. Golden light flourished, and the announcement flooded the screen, Xintian dominates the competitive list. Counterattack legend. The player exclaimed, Kuyu's rumors collapsed instantly. But the climax is not yet over. At the moment of redemption, Kuyu's ID suddenly highlighted and a private message erupted, visible to the entire server. Everyone, listen. Xintian's prediction is a system vulnerability. She uses plug-in props to bind boss AI and control the trajectory. The evidence is in hand, if I expose it, GM will shut her down. Screenshot flashes, fake system log, showing, vulnerability exploit. The square was in chaos, and some people questioned, real or false. Alliance members were shaken. Captain, this. Xintian's heart felt like it was falling into an ice cave, and the joy of being ranked first suddenly turned into crisis. Kuyu's conspiracy, from obstruction to defamation, is a desperate counterattack. The feeling of loneliness returned, but she took a deep breath and scanned the inside of the prediction system. Fake detection. Kuyu's log is fake, the source is her guild hacker prop. Resolution path, open confrontation and system verification. Don't panic. This is her virus prop variant, forged evidence. Xintian shouted, turning on the guild broadcast. The Alliance listens to the order, take a screenshot of her IP track. God bless, contact the GM to report. Xiao Wei, the buff guild trusts the halo, let everyone calm down. She went to the channel to fight back. Kuyu, want to destroy me? Come and prove it in actual combat. The system verified that my golden finger is a genuine awakening, not a loophole. The players were watching the fun, and Kuyu became anxious. You are talking nonsense. But Tianyu had reported it, and the GM announcement flashed. Investigation confirmed. Kuyu fabricated evidence and banned her guild for 1 hour. The Xintian system is genuine and has no violations. Kuyu's figure flashed with white light, she was forced offline, and her allies collapsed. The crisis was resolved, and the square erupted in even louder cheers. Xintian wins. The queen is invincible. Xintian breathed a sigh of relief. The ticket was shining with golden light in his hand, and his ranking at the top was as solid as a rock. A flood of inner transitions, from proof to enjoyment, from loneliness to unity, this is her peak. But there were only 12 hours left in the countdown to the large-scale boss battle. The roar was like thunder under the red clouds. She turned to the team. Victory is the beginning. Prepare for joint battle, everyone is ready. Kuyu fell, we dominate the server. Tianyu nodded, Xiao Wei smiled, the alliance walked in unison, and walked to the assembly point beside the brazier. The night wind blew a heat wave, and the war was getting ready. The flames of the brazier swayed in the night wind, reflecting the determined faces of the members of the Tianying alliance. The noise in the square receded like the tide, leaving only the low sounds of discussions and the soft sound of equipment clashing. Xintian stood in front of the assembly point, the steel blade feeling slightly hot in his hand. The clues for the 9th item, the source of Thunder Tears, had just appeared on the guild channel. The high-difficulty copy, Thunder Abyss, a secret entrance in the northeast of the server, where the wild boss rioted and dropped fragments. The number 1 glory hasn't cooled down yet, and the countdown to Kuyu's ban is only half an hour away. She will definitely jump over the wall in a hurry. Xintian glanced at the team. God bless's shield had been repaired, Xiao Wei's green robe was brand new, Jianfeng and the 50-odd members had eager eyes, like guards waiting for the queen. Listen, Xintian said, his voice as steady as a rock, penetrating the night wind, the countdown to the final boss battle is 12 hours, and we can't wait. The 9th item is in Thunder Abyss. Once collected, it can be exchanged for ultimate equipment and stabilize the ranking. The main team defends the square and defends against Ku. Yu is back, the core team is following me into the dungeon. Tianyu, Xiao Wei, Jianfeng, you follow me. Don't be careless, this is her last chance. She thought to herself, from being a lone wolf in novice village to this leader, she has been on the edge of a knife every step of the way, but the trust of the team keeps her grounded. Tianyu nodded and put his heavy sword on his shoulder. Okay, Captain. I'll step forward and you will take command. That woman, Kuyu, will bite as soon as the ban is over. The tip of Xiao Wei's staff flashed, and the green light tested. The buff is ready, the milk supply is full. Let's go. Thunder Abyss heard that the lightning is flying around, and the sensory simulation is high. In reality, you may be dizzy. Jianfeng drew his bow. I will suppress the rear guard and shoot away any sneak attacks. The blue light of the teleportation array engulfed them, the world turned, and the entrance to the Thunder Abyss suddenly opened up. The mouth of the cave is like the mouth of a giant beast, thunderclouds are rolling around, and the ionized smell in the air is pungent, like biting a piece of zinc. Occasionally, blue arcs jump, and the crackling sound makes the skin numb. Inside the abyss are layers of stone steps leading down, the walls are covered with pulsating thunder vines, and the blue light shines eerily. My footsteps hit the slippery rocks, each step reverberating like a harbinger of thunder. Be careful where you step, there are many thunder nets and traps. Xintian took the lead, and the prediction system buzzed, prediction of the mob group, thunder rat tide, arc charge. As soon as he finished speaking, the stone steps cracked open, and dozens of thunder rats sprang out, their hair standing on end and electric discharge, and their eyes red as arcs of electricity. They pounce, their claws arcing with electricity, and the smell of burning fills the air. Xintian yelled, "Disperse! Come in an arc, jump back to avoid the electric grid." She dodged one sideways, and the steel blade chopped off the rat's head. Blue electricity rushed up her arm, and the numbness was like a needle pricking, straight to the real nerves. The god's blessing shield blocked a wave, and the electric arc hit like a whip, and smoke erupted from the shield, withstand the arrow wind, shoot the tail to cut off the electricity. The arrow wind sounded continuously, and 3 arrows were like meteors, hitting the rat's tail. The arc was interrupted, and the rats ran around in disorder. Xiaowei's green light swept over, anti-hemp buff. Stable blood. They cooperated tacitly, and the rat tide was cleaned up, and small fragments dropped. The progress was 1/3. Xintian gasped, feeling warm in his heart, this is not a solo fight, the team turns dodge into attack. Deep into the middle layer, thunderclouds pressed over the top, and the roar was deafening. Suddenly, the system alarm sounded sharply, infiltration detection, Kuyu has returned from the ban. Prediction of teaming up with Wild Boss, King of Thunder summons and sieges the altar. A blue light bloomed at the end of the passage, and Kuyu's figure flashed. Her robe was damaged but her eyes were vicious. With 3 remaining allies, the wand chanted, "Xintian, the ban is over. This source of thunder and tears was snatched by me together with the King of Thunder. Go up, Wild Bee Boss, surround them and kill them." She threw the props, the altar cracked, and a Thunder King boss burst out of the stone. Its body was like a thunder cloud, its horns were like electric whips, its roar exploded the thunder net, and the whole place was filled with electric arcs, and the heat wave smelled like burnt wire. Kuyu's final obstruction came fiercely. The first wave of Thunder King, sweeping with electric whip, blue arc like net covering a range of 10 meters. Predictive trajectory flashes, combination, whip sweep thunderball continuous landmine explosion. Lasts 15 seconds. Xintian shouted, back behind the pillar. Whip sweep 360, Kuyu assists with thunderball. She rolled past, the electric whip brushed her body, numbness rushed into her bones, and her vision was blurred. Xiaowei raised her green shield and blocked the ball, tits. But there are so many people, I can't suppress it. The arrow shot at Kuyu, and the arrow grazed the corner of her robe, damn it, she is hiding behind the thunder vine. Tianyu rushed forward with a thunderball on top of his shield, which exploded like a lightning strike. Half of his health bar was lost, and his shoulders were scorched and smoking. Xintian, where is the boss's weakness? Kuyu sneered, Thunder King, the mine exploded. Blow them away. A pit of thunder opened in the ground, blue lightning shot out like a spring, and the heat wave burned your feet. Xintian predicted the path and led the team to dodge, go left. Run between the pits. But Kuyu's ally tanks came and charged with heavy hammers, cooperating with the boss to besiege them like iron barrels. The battle situation is stalemate, arcs are flying everywhere, the smell of burning is strong in the air, and the team's health bar is reduced to 30%. Climax erupts. The Thunder King roared, and the ultimate combo started, thunderstorms filled the whole place, and the lightning clouds overwhelmed the whole place. The precognition system was suddenly overloaded, the track lights in the field of vision flashed randomly, and the buzzing was like a lightning strike in the brain. System warning, energy overload, precognition interrupted for 10 seconds. Unknown attack trajectory, Xintian's head exploded, and he felt paralyzed like a tide. For the first time, the system failed. Panic is like an electric shock to the heart. It's over, there's no prediction, how can I dodge? Kuyu's thunderball shot directly at her back, the Thunder King's electric whip swept across, and unknown attacks came like chaos. At that moment, time seemed to slow down. Xintian gritted his teeth and closed his eyes to think back, from the Goblin King's intuitive dodge to the transformation of the desert sand shield, the experience of each battle was like a fire. She instinctively turned sideways, and the electric whip grazed her left shoulder. The pain was like burning, but it avoided the vital point. An inner monologue flashed through, precognition is a tool, not everything. Strategy plus luck is the balance. I am not a puppet who relies on the system, I am a leader. God bless, sacrifice the top. Xiaowei, fuse the buff to counter electricity. Arrow wind, use the Shikyu staff to cut off the source. Tianyu understood, his eyes darkened, and he rushed forward as if he were sacrificing himself. His shield shattered to block the Thunder King's electric whip and Kuyu's thunderball. The explosion engulfed his figure. His health bar was cleared, and the white light flashed offline. Xintian, protect the team. His protection was like the last shield, making Xintian's heart twist like a knife. Tears flashed, God bless, you are always like this. From the forest to now, sacrifice makes me grow. This emotion is like an electric current, deepening the bond, no longer teammates, but family. Turning moment. Xintian yelled, fusion. Xiaowei, add your electrolytic buff to my sword, arrow wind, and wind arrows to induce thunder. Xiaowei injected green light into the steel blade, and the sword body flashed with blue light, arrow wind and wind arrows were shot out, guiding the arc to deflect. Xintian jumped up and made an innovative attack. The blade was like a lightning guide, piercing the root of the Thunder King's horns, and the electric current backfired on the boss. The thunderstorm was interrupted, the lightning clouds collapsed, and Kuyu's assistant was confused. Impossible. The system is overloaded, how can you? Her staff was broken by the arrow wind, the magic power backfired, and the health bar dropped wildly. Team reverse. Xintian commanded like a god, Jianfeng, suppress the allies. Xiaowei, the resurrection point, God's blessing is on the line. The Thunder King stiffened, and his weakness was exposed, the thunder core flashed. She charged forward, the fusion sword pierced into the core, blue lightning splashed out like fireworks, and the boss disintegrated. Kill the Thunder King. The source of thunder tears X1, 9th piece. Competitive points plus 3,000. Kuyu's allies were defeated, and she teleported in embarrassment. You won this time, but I won't let you go in the final battle. With a total of 13,400 points, she ranked first in the entire server. The reputation of the guild skyrocketed, and the channel was refreshed. Myth of the Tianying Alliance. Xintian's leader is invincible. New members poured in, and the number exceeded 100. Tianyu came online and rushed from the resurrection point. His shoulders were still weak, but he grinned. Girl, that one is worth it. Your innovation is awesome. From experienced dodge to fusion skills, I have grown into a comprehensive leader and am no longer afraid of the unknown. As the dungeon exits, the thunderclouds gradually dissipate, but the server announcement resounds. 6 hours countdown to the final boss battle. The Global Alliance begins, and legendary equipment goes to the winner. Under the red clouds, the roar sounded like the end was approaching. Xintian held the 9th piece tightly, determination burning in his eyes. We have the props, the guild is ready. We will take Kuyu's last stand. The team walked firmly towards the main city. The war was approaching faintly, and the suspense was brewing like thunder. The arches of the main city cast long shadows under the red clouds, and the players' footsteps were like rapid drumbeats, gathering into a raging torrent. Xintian led the core team of the Tianying Alliance to rush into the city wall first. The air was filled with the smell of rust and scorched earth. The brazier in the distance reflected the livid faces of the NPC guards, and their spears trembled slightly in the wind. The countdown to the server announcement is still echoing in my mind. There are only 6 hours left, and a large boss battle will engulf everything. The ninth source of thunder tears pulsed slightly in the backpack, like a heart ready to go, causing Xintian's chest to surge with heat. Captain, exchange it first. Tian Yu gasped, carrying the heavy sword on his shoulder. The weakness from just being resurrected from the dungeon has not completely subsided. The edges of his shield were scorched black, as if he had witnessed the baptism of thunder and lightning. Xiao Wei followed beside her, the green light of the healing staff flashing slightly. She wiped the sweat from her forehead. Yes, after integrating the props and getting the legendary ticket, you can enter the final area. On the guild channel, everyone is urging me. Xintian nodded and glanced at the alliance members coming around. The number of alliance members had increased from 50 to nearly 100. Their IDs were floating like stars. Someone shouted, "Xintian is invincible," and the sound warmed her heart. From the lonely escape in Novice Village to now, this group of people regard her as a flag. This change is like a tide, diluting the shadow of Kuyu's ban. Let's go to the exchange hall. Jianfeng, lead the main force to guard the perimeter and guard against accidents. Jianfeng drew his bow and responded, "Understood, Captain. Whoever dares to make trouble will be shot into a hedgehog." The exchange hall was brightly lit, the queue was like a dragon, and the hot air was mixed with the hum of metal and magic. Xintian and the others crowded in front of the NPC. The old NPC frowned and scanned the backpack. 9 hearts of tears are complete? The final key to the crisis. She took a deep breath and took out all the props from the backpack: tears of the wilderness, tears of the desert, tears of shadows, tears of blood, tears of the abyss, tears of fire, tears of thunder. The fragments gathered into a ball of gorgeous light. The NPC waved his hand, and the system resounded, "Legendary ticket redemption successful. Enter the final boss area, the Doomsday Abyss. Reward, competitive points plus 5,000, ranking first." The ticket appeared like a solid object, feeling cold but hot in the hand. Xintian held it tightly, and the panel shone. The total points were 18,400, and the first place was golden. A server-wide announcement exploded: Xintian dominates. Legend ticket holder, leader of the alliance. The guild channel was buzzing with excitement, and the members were celebrating. "The queen is awesome. We are determined to follow." But in the joy, Xintian's prediction system suddenly buzzed, and a faint red line emerged, not the boss, but the trajectory of the player's traitor. Kuyu's shadow is like a ghost, lurking within the alliance. "Wait, there's something strange," Xintian whispered, holding Tianyou's arm. There was sudden chaos outside the palace. Several alliance members, with IDs such as Shadow Blade and Fire Fox, suddenly turned around, drew their weapons and rushed towards the core team. Shadow Blade sneered. "Sister Kuyu said, whoever betrays will be given a large sum of money. Hand over the tickets." Fire Fox chanted fireball, a heat wave hit his face, and the smell of burning rose in the air. They were Kuyu's traitors. After the ban ended, she made a desperate move to bribe the newcomers and launch a surprise attack. The crisis broke out suddenly, and the players in the palace screamed and scattered. The NPC guards swept their spears but could not stop the melee. The fireball hit Xiao Wei. Her green robe flashed, and the healing shield rose. It blocked the heat wave but was shaken back 3 steps. "Captain, they are moles. How come there are such people in the guild?" The god's blessing shield swung horizontally, blocking the stabbing of the shadow blade, and the metal collision made a dull sound like thunder. "Damn it, Kuyu's trick. Xintian, what should I do?" Xintian's heart sank, and the red line trajectory emerged clearly: chain of traitor betrayal, Firefox fireball shadow blade side stab subsequent outflanking by 3 moles. Lasts for 8 seconds, intending to grab tickets and escape. Kuyu's foresight upgrade allowed her to see clearly that all this was not just a boss skill, but a crisis in people's hearts. Panic ran through her like an electric current. The guild had just been formed, and she was afraid that it would collapse if she made a mistake, turning from a personal hero into a betrayal. But the turning point comes in the flashback. Tianyo's loyalty emerges like a picture. In the forest of the novice village, he rushes out to block the tide of monsters. In the desert sandstorm, he holds up his shield to let her transform the shield. In the thunder abyss, he sacrifices himself to hold up the thunder, allowing her to innovate and counterattack. At that moment, Tianyo's voice echoed in her ears, "Sister, trust me once." His figure was like an iron wall, strengthening her determination. "I am not walking alone, I am the leader." Unity is not empty talk, it is the fire that resolves crises. Don't panic. God bless, support the fire fox, Xiao Wei, milk me, my shadow-breaking blade. Xintian shouted, his voice penetrated the chaos and was as loud as a command. She rolled forward along the red line to avoid the side stab, and the steel blade backhand stabbed Shadow Blade's arm, losing half of her health bar. The traitor roared in pain and retreated. "The money Sister Kuyu gave, is worth it." Tianyo's heavy sword swept away the fire fox, and the fireball exploded and burned his arms red. "Want to betray? Ask me about the sword." Xiao Wei's green light locked on, full buff. Xintian, the next 3 are coming. Subsequently, the inner ghost pounced on him, and the 3 men surrounded him with swords, and the red lines of their trajectories intertwined into a network. Xintian took a deep breath, her growth changed like a tide, from personal avoidance to now predicting people's hearts. She is no longer a lone wolf. The Alliance listens to the order. These traitors were bribed by Kuyu. Whoever follows us, block them, whoever has doubts, stay back and watch the battle. Her words were like lightning strikes, and the members in the palace were stunned. Jianfeng was the first to respond, drawing his bow and shooting away the traitor. "The captain is right. Tianying will never leave." The other members rushed forward, fists, feet and swords intertwined. The traitor was suppressed and screamed incessantly. Transforming crisis into unity, Xintian pierced the last mole's defense with one leap, and her ticket was safe. Kuyu's private message popped up, trembling, How did you know about the traitor?" But she didn't reply, and turned to the team, "Thank you everyone. This crisis is not the end, but a test. Kuyu wants to divide us, but we are stronger." The members' eyes lit up, and someone shouted, "Leader Xintian. Unity is invincible." The guild channel flooded the screen with support, the traitor was kicked out, and the alliance became stronger like steel. A warm current surged in Xintian's heart, from being a hero alone to leading collectively. This growth was like a fire, igniting everyone's determination. Red clouds were billowing outside the palace, and the countdown was only 4 hours away. They went straight to the entrance to the final boss area, the giant door of the Abyss of Doom. The stone door was full of cracks, and the wind blew out from the gaps, mixing with sulfur and bloody heat waves. It is said that as soon as the ticket was touched, the door burst open, and the world turned around. They stepped into the core of the abyss, a vast lava plain, cracks in the ground, heat like a steamer hitting their faces, and a large boss in the distance. The demon emperor of doom has appeared. He is as big as a mountain, with black wings spread out to cover the sky, eyes as red as lava, a roar that makes rocks roll down, and the burning smell in the air is as strong as an oven. The first battle begins. All alliances, formations are in place. Xintian shouted, and the prediction system was overloaded. Boss multi-wave skills, first wave, molten wing sweep, second wave, fire rain meteorite, third wave, blood shadow collision. The trajectory is complex and lasts 20 seconds. The Demon King fluttered his wings, his molten wings swept across like a sickle, and the hot wind pressed like a wall. Xintian took the lead, retreat. Wing sweep range is 15 meters, flash behind the pillars. The team spread out, the wing wind smashed against the pillars, gravel fell like rain, and the ground became red. She blocked a monster that slipped through the net with her steel blade, and the claw attack made the tiger's mouth numb. God bless, withstand the second wave. The fire rain is coming, more points will fall. God bless raised his shield and shouted, hold it, Xiaowei, buff fire resistance. Fire rain fell like meteorites, holes exploded on the ground, heat waves engulfed the players on the edge, and screams echoed. Xiaowei's green light was like a net, full fire resistance. Health bar stable. Xintian predicted the gap, rolled past 3 meteorites, hot juice splashed on her body like a burn, and the pain went straight into reality. She shouted, "Arrow wind, the root of the shooting wing is broken and swept." Arrows rained out, and the Demon King's wing was hit by an arrow. Black blood sprayed like hot oil, and the sweep was interrupted. The third wave of blood shadows collided, the Demon King swooped down like an arrow, and the red shadow track was like a net. Xintian's heartbeat accelerated, disband. Crash in a straight line, sidestep and then counterattack. The team moved sideways, colliding and smashing into the air. The ground cracked into deep grooves, and the aftermath made them stagger. She jumped up, and the steel blade pierced the weak point of the Demon King's leg. The sound of flesh and blood tearing was crisp, weak point broken. Points increased. The system prompted a series of prompts, evasion successful, multiple waves of combos. Competitive points plus 8,000, total 26,400. First place locked. After a small victory in the first battle, the Demon King retreated and roared, but the red line of predictions suddenly flashed. Kuyu's latent threat emerged from the edge of the abyss. She hid in the shadows, her wand glowing faintly, intending to take advantage of the chaos to release virus props. Xintian gritted his teeth, "Kuyu is still here. The team is on the verge of alert, she is going to cause trouble." Tian Yu turned around and said, "Let her come, I'll stop her." In the heat wave, the flames of war reignited, and the Demon King charged up the next wave. Kuyu's shadow lurked like a poisonous snake, and the suspense was overwhelming like a thundercloud. The heat wave of the lava plain was like an invisible giant hand, clawing at everyone's skin. Xintian's steel blade flashed in the firelight. She took a deep breath of the sultry air. The black wings of the Demon Emperor slowly closed in her field of vision, and the charged roar was like the churning of underground magma. The red line trajectory of the precognition system has densely covered the entire field, like a blood net, heralding the next wave of destruction. The team members spread out into a half-moon formation, Tianyou's shield was raised high, and sweat slid down his virtual face, dripping on the edge of the lava and making a sizzling sound. Xiaowei's green light spread like veins, and the buff blessing made everyone's steps a little lighter. Jianfeng's back row drew the bow, and the arrow tip was aimed at the Demon Emperor's wing root, and the bowstring creaked. The second stage is here. The Demon Emperor's ultimate combination, Blackwing Fire Rain plus Blood Demon Summoning plus Lava Explosion, 3 consecutive rounds, lasting 25 seconds. Xintian shouted, her voice penetrated and roared, her heartbeat was like a war drum, and the prophetic light intertwined into a complex path map. Fire rain fell from the wing tips like 1,000 needles, summoned blood demon monsters were like a surge, and the explosion was like a pillar of fire cracking the ground and flying into the sky. God bless, summon from the middle. Xiaowei, spread your breasts to prevent the aftermath of the explosion. Arrow wind, suppress the fire raindrops and cut off its wing veins. The entire alliance, advance layer by layer, first clear the mobs, then break the wings, and dodge in circles when blasting. The Demon King roared, his black wings fluttered, and rain of fire poured down. Red dots cut through the night sky like meteorites, hitting the plains and exploding small craters. Hot slag splashed around like sparks dancing wildly. Xintian rolled and dodged 2 of them, the heat wave burned her sleeves red, and the pain shot through her nerves like fire. Zwitching. The blood demon is scurrying from the ground, its claws are poisonous, she shouted, and with a swing of her steel blade, she chopped off the head of a blood demon. The black blood sprayed out and was as sticky as glue, corroding the ground and giving off a sour smell. The team responded, and the god's blessing shield blocked a wave of summons, with a muffled sound like thunder, withstand it. Xintian, are the wing veins exposed? Xiaowei's green light fell like rain, on the breasts. Keep the health bar stable, don't fight hard. Arrows were like meteors, and 3 consecutive shots hit the wingtips. The Demon King roared in pain, and the rhythm of the rain of fire was disrupted for half a beat. The advancement was as smooth as silk, and the alliance members cooperated tacitly. Someone shouted, "Follow the captain, dodge with perfect accuracy." The blood demon tide was suppressed, and the black blood on the plain formed a stream, steaming with heat. Xintian foresaw that the explosion was about to happen, the ground trembled, and the cracks of fire expanded, explode. "Everyone, run in the outer circle, don't step on the cracks." She led the circle, and the pillar of fire shot up like a fire dragon's breath, reaching 10 meters high, and the aftermath made her feet stagger. The team caught up, and only a few people on the periphery were slightly injured. Xiaowei treated them in time, and the green light resolved the scorching heat. Past the first chain. The points have increased, and the blood volume has reached 70%. Xintian gasped and shouted, her chest heaving, and her growing self-confidence was like a fire, making her feel that the boss was no longer an insurmountable mountain, but a scale that could be peeled off layer by layer. But turns emerged like shadows from the edges. The predictive red lines suddenly flashed, and a familiar player trajectory was superimposed on the boss light, Kuyu. She jumped out from behind the lava crack, her robe was in tatters but her wand was glowing red, with a crazy smile on her lips. "Xintian, do you think I'm finished?" The virus prop has been implanted into Boss AI, the ultimate combo mutation. "The black wing fire rain plus my meteorite will be linked to blow you up," she chanted, accelerating. The Demon King was affected, the red light on the wingtip skyrocketed, fire rain mixed with meteorites hitting it, the trajectory was chaotic, and the path that could have been avoided was now a mess, hitting the middle of the team. The heat wave engulfed the 5 members, the white light flashed offline, and the screams echoed, "Captain, it's chaos. The mobs are swarming again." The team was instantly in disarray. Someone stepped back and shouted, "Kuyu is cheating. The boss has become stronger." The arrow missed, and the blood demon pounced on him and bit his leg, causing the poisonous blood bar to drop wildly. Xiaowei's green light couldn't keep up, "The milk can't come over." Xintian, what should I do? The god's blessing shield blocked a meteorite, but was knocked away by the aftermath, and fell on the edge of the lava. His shoulders were scorched and smoking. "Damn, this is a combination of Taiyin." Xintian, hold on. Chaos came like a tide, the Demon King's blood volume was only reduced to 60%, and the morale of the alliance was low. Someone whispered, "I can't stand it even if I am ranked first, this woman is crazy." Xintian's heart felt like it was falling into an ice cave, his vision was blurred, the red line trajectory was intermittent due to virus interference, and panic burned in his heart like lava. "It's over, is this feeling again?" From the Goblin King in Novice Village, before the system awakened, I was unable to dodge and was frustrated like a shadow. In the desert sandstorm, when the team was first formed but almost destroyed. In the thunder abyss, when God bless sacrificed, I almost collapsed. Kuyu's obstruction, from sneak attack to traitor, to now joining forces with the boss, this ambition is like a virus, corroding everything. Am I a leader, or am I a mirror image? It was shaken like waves, but in an instant, the fire of growth was ignited, not the system, but the experience. Those dodges, transformations, and traps are all instincts that I have refined step by step. From a counterattack rookie to a ruler, I will no longer waver, I want to reverse this alliance. Don't mess up. Kuyu's virus only messes up the trajectory, but the weakness remains unchanged. Xintian roared, her voice like thunder piercing through the chaos. She reconstructed the path from memory, the gap between the fire rain meteor was on the right side, and the blind spot where the blood demon was summoned was in the middle and back. God bless, reset the middle lane, the aftermath of the meteorite on the top of the shield. Xiaowei, concentrate on the milk core, protect yourself on the edge. Arrow wind, shoot Kuyu wand, cut off her linkage source. Alliance, reorganize half moon, layer upon layer, blood demon, flash fire rain, counterattack hit the boss wing. Her command was like a sharp blade, and Tian Yu stood up, but his shield was firm. I believe you. Go up. Xiao Wei's green light locked on, surely shoot her. Reversal breaks out. Xintian took the lead and rushed into the chaos. She used her growth experience to dodge and join forces to attack. The meteorite hit her and she rolled forward to avoid it. The hot slag brushed her back like a whip. When she stood up, the steel blade swept away 2 blood demons, but the black blood sticky hand did not retreat. Kuyu, I've seen through your linkage. The virus is in chaos, but your chanting has a rhythm, a 3-second gap. The arrow was like a poisonous snake, and it hit Kuyu's wand. The wand cracked and the red light scattered. The virus linkage was interrupted. The Demon King's roar was stagnant, and the rhythm of the fire rain slowed down by half a beat. Kuyu screamed, impossible. You didn't predict why. She panicked to repair the magic, but her position was exposed. Now, counterattack. Xintian shouted, predicting that the red line was restored, and superimposing Kuyu's trajectory. Ultimate combination, Boss Blood Shadow Claw plus Kuyu Bing's explosion. Dodge path, dodge left, jump back, stab Kuyue in the back. The Demon King's claw strikes are like a blood whip, assisted by Kuyu's ice fireball, and the cold and heat are intertwined like a storm. Xintian dodges her claws with her left hand, causing her face to be scratched by the wind pressure. She jumps back and flashes ice and fire, and the hot and cold aftermath burns and numbs her arms. She flashes in her heart, this is the pinnacle, from passive to active, I rule this battlefield. The steel blade pierced Kuyu's back, the blade penetrated into the flesh, and the health bar was cleared. Kuyu's eyes widened and she turned into white light and went offline, you won. The system prompts, kill Kuyu. Seize its virus props, and the boss will be mutated. Competitive points plus 2000. The secondary conflict was resolved, Kuyu's conspiracy disappeared like smoke, her guild collapsed, and the rumors were put to an end. The team's morale was high, Kuyu is down. Captain God. The Demon Emperor was helpless and his health was reduced to 30%. The climax is coming, the boss is about to go berserk, and the ultimate skills are fully activated, Lava C plus Black Wings Death Slash plus Blood Core Explosion, the 3 stacks overlap, the plane is boiling like a sea of fire, and the heat wave swallows the sky. Xintian predicted the peak operation, everyone retreats. The wave rises from the ground, the wing slash sweeps across, and the center of the nuclear explosion. God bless, the key blow, top the wave, I break the core, your sword smashes the wing root. Tianyu nodded, his eyes were like iron, sister, this one blow, for you. He rushed into the sea of fire, his shield shattered into powder, and he resisted the waves of lava. The hot liquid cut his body like a knife, but he shouted, smash. The heavy sword took advantage of the momentum and hit the root of the wing. The black wing broke and the death was cut off. Xiao Wei's green light was like her lifeblood, God bless, hold on. Xintian jumped across the sea of fire, the steel blade pierced into the blood core along the trajectory, and the red light scattered in all directions, and the explosion backfired on the boss. The Demon King's body collapsed, and the lava plain returned to silence, leaving only heat and steam. Kill the large boss, Doomsday Demon King. Legendary equipment, Heaven-defying Blade X1. Competitive points plus 10,000, total 38,400. The first place is unbeatable. The legendary equipment is obtained, the golden light is bright, the sword is like a star river, and the whole server of the system announces, Xintian rules the server. Legendary equipment holder, Game Legend. The team cheered loudly, Tianyu gasped and stood up, Xiao Wei helped him to heal, Tianyu, you are so handsome. Xintian held the sword, and the blood in his chest boiled, from counterattack to dominance, this is the pinnacle. Kuyu's obstruction forged her iron will, the bond of the team made the victory complete. The red clouds gradually dissipated, and the abyss became brighter, but the server faintly prompted, follow-up events are brewing, and the game world will never be peaceful. She turned to everyone, the battle is over, but the adventure continues. Tianying Alliance, dominance starts from now on. Footsteps rang in the residual heat, heading towards the exit, the future shining like a new star. The residual heat of the lava plain was still distorting the vision in the air. Xintian held the steel blade tightly in his hand, and the sword reflected the red light on the demon emperor's black wings, like an immortal fire. The red line trace pulsed at the edge of the field of vision, and Kuyu's lurking position was as clear as a lighthouse. She was hiding behind the lava crack, her wand glowed faintly, and the blue light of the virus prop was looming. The team members gasped and reorganized their formation. Tianyou's shield was shattered and still smoking at the edge. He growled, "Kuyu's ghost is still here. Captain, give me a signal and I'll rush to block her." Xiaowei's green light swept over everyone, and the treatment was like a trickle to relieve the burning pain. Buff blessing, fire resistance is full. But the boss is charged up, and it feels like a big move is coming. The Demon King's roar suddenly exploded, tearing apart the earth like thunder, and the black wings fully unfolded, covering half of the sky. The prediction system is running at overspeed, and the trajectory light is like a torrential downpour. Ultimate stage, Black Wings Death / plus Lava Tsunami plus Blood Core Self-Destruction, 3 stacks superimposed, covering the entire plane, lasting 30 seconds. Mortality rate 95%. Xintian's heartbeat was like a war drum, and she shouted, "Everyone is on alert. Kuyu joins forces with the boss, the virus has strengthened and self-destructed. God bless, support the middle of the tsunami, Xiaowei, spread the breasts to the edge, arrow wind, shoot Kuyu to cut off the source. Alliance, layer by layer shrinking, flash / avoid the sea, break the core." Her voice was as steady as a rock, penetrating the heat wave. The team's eyes lit up, and their footsteps moved as one. The black-winged death slash was the first to explode, and the wing blades swept across like countless scythes. The wind pressure was mixed with fire fragments, and the scraping pain on the cheek was like a knife. Xintian predicted the perfect path and rolled forward to avoid the first wave. The hot wind brushed her back, leaving red marks. When she stood up, the steel blade stabbed a blood demon that slipped through the net, spraying green and black blood sticky to the bones. Wings cut in an arc, dodge left and circle right. Don't run in a straight line. The team followed, and the God-blessing shield shattered into powder but used the momentum to withstand the second wave. The impact of the wing blades was like thunder, and his knees hit the ground. His health bar dropped wildly but he shouted, "Withstood it. Xintian, next wave." Xiaowei's green light spread out like a net, on the breast. "Hold on, keep the health bar steady." Kuyu jumped out of the crack, the wand's red light surged, virus props were injected into the boss, and a lava tsunami erupted in advance. The ground cracked, red juice surged like waves, up to 5 meters high, the heat wave steamed like the gate of hell, and the smell of burnt earth in the air was so thick that it choked your nose. The red line trace flashed between Kuyu's chanting, she overloaded in 3 seconds and broke the staff. "Jianfeng, now!" "Her staff!" Xintian shouted. She jumped onto the edge of the lava, the steel blade pierced the wave, and used the force to turn over to avoid the tsunami. The juice splashed on her body like boiling oil scalding her skin. The pain was straight into reality, and she gritted her teeth to hold back. The bowstring exploded in the wind of arrows, and an arrow hit Kuyu's wand like lightning. The wand shattered and the blue light dispersed. The virus was interrupted, and the rhythm of the tsunami was disrupted. Kuyu screamed, "Damn it! How can you always predict?" With only a trace of blood left, she retreated in panic, but was surrounded by alliance members, and fists and kicks rained down. The aftermath of the tsunami swallowed up several people on the edge, and Xiaowei's green light pulled back in time. "They are stable. Captain, the nuclear explosion is coming." The self-destruction of the blood core was the climax. The demon emperor's chest was filled with red light, like a heart pulsing, and the explosion range was 20 meters. Red mist surged out like a blood tide, corroding everything it touched. The peak of Xintian's prediction flashed, and all the trajectories were as clear as crystal, stiff for 2 seconds before self-destruction, and the weakness is exposed. Perfect dodge, leap up on the outer circle and stab the core back. Everyone jumps out. Nuclear explosion freezes, opportunity. She took the lead and jumped up, the steel blade pierced the core along the light, the blade penetrated the flesh like tearing cloth, the red mist backfired on the boss, the Demon King roared in pain and his body trembled. The team worked together. Tianyou's heavy sword took advantage of the leap to smash the wings, Xiaowei's buff blessed the arrow wind and shot the edge of the core with an arrow, the Alliance's sword light was like a net, and the blood core shattered. The explosion was interrupted, the red mist dispersed like fireworks, the Demon King disintegrated into ashes, the planes trembled and returned to silence, leaving only heat and steam. The system resounded throughout the server, kill the final boss, the Doomsday Demon King. The legendary equipment, Crown of Illusion, drops. Xintian's team obtained plus 15,000 competitive points, totaling 53,400. The first server, forever locked in glory. Golden light rose from the boss's corpse, and a bright crown emerged. Xintian stretched out his hand to touch it. The crown's body flowed like stars, and the power injected into his body was like a surge. The guild channel exploded, and alliance members cheered, Queen Xintian. We dominate. The red clouds gradually dispersed, blue light fell from the sky, the game world returned to tranquility, the monster riots subsided, and the NPC announcement sounded, the crisis event is over, and the server restarts in peace mode. Resource allocation is enabled and fair competition will last forever. Kuyu's screams came from the edge. She was suppressed by the alliance. Before her health bar was cleared, she glared at Xintian, you won. Your foresight and your command are not luck, but strength. I was wrong, I underestimated you from the beginning. Her voice was unwilling but sincere, and her ambition disappeared like smoke. The grudge is settled, I log out of the server. Congratulations, top player. The figure turned into white light, she was completely offline, the guild collapsed, and the rumors disappeared. Xintian didn't pursue him, but just nodded, the game should be fair. Go on your way. Resolving the grudge was like lifting a heavy burden, and she felt lighthearted. As the team gathered around, Tianyu patted her shoulder and grinned, sister, from the broken sword in novice village to this crown now, you have transformed. How about I become your permanent partner? His eyes were as reliable as iron. Xiaowei crossed her arms excitedly, yes. We are fair with guild resources. Points are exchanged for equipment, whoever contributes more will be chosen first. Jianfeng and other members nodded, Tianying alliance will never break up. Xintian smiled, and warmth surged in his chest, okay, God, you are my iron shield. From now on, the guild is fair, resources are based on contribution, and the team is like home. The inner monologue came like a flood, looking back at the lowest point, under the sunset in the novice village, I gasped and faced the Goblin King, as powerless as dust, and just wanted to prove that I was not worthy of the edge. After awakening to precognition, every crisis was like a trial, the first counterattack in the forest taught me that dodge is not escape, desert sandstorms, transforming crises, taught me the art of strategy, Shadow Demon Palace, breaking links to set up traps, and understanding the fire of courage, Thunder Abyss, when the system was overloaded, I innovated based on experience, understanding that the team is the backing, not a burden. In the final battle, facing Kuyu's cooperation, I no longer wavered. I transformed from a rookie to a top player, strategically predicting the path, working together as a team to defeat the enemy, and facing the unknown with courage. This game is not just a counterattack, it is a mirror of growth, allowing me to go from the bottom to the top, proving that everyone has the possibility to shine. The panel shines, the first golden crown is locked forever, and the server announcement stays forever, Legend of Xintian, King of the Fantasy Era. Guild resources are pouring in, equipment is upgraded, and member levels are soaring. The game world is back to life, the grass in Novice Village is full of green, dungeon tickets are scattered like stars, and players have regained the joy of adventure. Xintian took off her helmet, and the real sunset shone into the room. She stretched and raised the corners of her mouth, the game is over. No, it's just beginning. Next server, wait for me. She put on the helmet again and logged into the Tianying Alliance. The team's chat box was as lively as ever. Captain, let's start a new adventure. With brisk steps, she stepped into the virtual world, and the future was like an endless galaxy, shining brightly.